Good evening, all. How do I find you on this fine Friday? I was going to comment on the weather, and I actually don't know what the weather's like. I've not been outside today. That's pretty bad. I need to make sure I'm doing some sort of outside activity, I think, on a daily basis. I've been doing all right, generally. Did 30 minutes of cycling on Wednesday, I think it was. So I've been out and about. Who we got? Anthony's here first, as always. Robert Major, welcome to Fanatic. Thank you very much, Robert. I appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. We've got Existence. Good to have you, Existence. Ginger Steve. I assume by this hour we're retired to the study, and we were wearing posh smoking jackets like Fencing Ed. That's fair. I got no comeback for that. He got me in a box, but it's alright, because I have a sword. Existence says it's been windy today. That's fair. That's fair. It's a good job that weather isn't localized. At least we're in the same country, so it's probably right. Beowulf is here. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. And Chris Mollison has got his smoking jacket on and whiskey in hand. Very nice. I got brandy in my pink sippy cup. You want to have your minds blown? I got two. Look at that. These things are great. I bought the first one in summer because I wanted something to keep my water cold when I was in the office because it's, warm. And yeah, holds ice super well. I took it to work with ice in and no water and topped it up with water throughout the day. And by the end of the day, I had to chuck the remnants of ice out. So I was very impressed. Plus one attack sippy cup. Yeah, dual wielding. Of course, we all know that additional hand weapons don't confer plus one attack if you're using any other weapon. So these are strength user AP nothing attacks, which is not great. Given that I am a human with a generic human stat line, I don't think I've got any particularly... I've got a fast initiative. I think I'm of pretty average strength and toughness. My weapon skill is, reasonably average. As pointed out by Ginger Steve, I've done a little bit of fencing, a little bit of combat training. About as much as you could expect from some sort of terribly under-trained Empire soldier. I think that's a bad example. Empire soldiers are probably pretty well trained. But yeah, hope you're all doing well. It's the end of the week. These weeks just fly by. I tell you what I've been doing while I was building models earlier. I was not being a dick. Average human stat line is for a human. What are you trying to say, Russell? We bet Brett presents. How dare you, sir? How dare you? How dare you? No, I demand weapon skill 3. Well, I've had this argument before with people. I've done enough combat training that I feel like I can hit the lofty heights of weapon skill 3. Ginger Steve, you'd be an orc because you ride pigs. Hey, I'd love to see you actually ride pigs. That'd be great. I don't know that I'd want to ride a pig, but I would love to see... I would love to have a chariot pulled by pigs. That'd be pretty great. Happy Friday. Good to see you, Landon. Hope you're doing well. We've got some lists to get through. Some listy lists. I've noticed what you're doing, Steve. You're submitting each week one of the teams lists, and I quite enjoy that. What are you getting up to in your own time as your own business? Oh no. It's like the Prime Minister all over again. No, I trust Steve. He's a good egg. He's not like David Cameron. It's for OnlyFans only. Oh, right. We're gonna move on to lists because it's very quickly. I was gonna say derailing, but it's not derailing. It's going on very clear train tracks, just not in the direction I want to go. So that's where we're going to start. We got a good number of lists here today. I think I've overshot it a little bit because there were, I think, 12 or 13. I think there might have been 13 lists submitted, and I thought, you know what, let's just squeeze them all in. So I'm sure we'll be fine. But I can see we've got a couple of the people here. So we've got Reaver Games, we've got Beowulf, we've got Ginger Steve. Anyone else here? I was going to go through in list. Is Hams Fan or Thomas here in terms of going through the lists? I can start from the top and work my way down. It's always nice to be able to talk to the people who are wanting the list sorted. This is a 1,500 point list. There you go. Hey, Thomas. Fantastic. Right. Let me go to this one, because there was quite a lot of lists that had some sort of side information with them. So let's start off with yours, Thomas. It was High Elves and the list will be used for a tournament in France, hesitating between battle magic and elementalism. That's great. So you've got a 500-point prince, and then you've got an archmage, 25 Lothan Sea Guard, triple archers, Phoenix Guard, Sis of Avalon, Skycutter, double Great Eagle. Lovely stuff. Do you have a cap? Is there a specific reason that the prince is 500 points? You're the last one before it cut off, Connor. So you must be Lord Kibbleston. Perfect. If you are here and you need to go before the end of the stream, do shout up. We are playing Throne of Skulls. Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool. So 500 points and you're capped at 1 level 4. Cool. Cool. So, first thought, is 2 Opal Amulets better than a Talisman of Protection? I guess it probably is, because it protects you against the problem that is the Bretonian Duke with the Killing Blow. Is it High Elves or Eldar this weekend? Oh, what, as in, like, for release? Oh, you're asking me what my prediction is? I think it's neither. I think I'd be surprised to see either of them put up for pre-release this week. I don't know, but... Oh, no, maybe not. I feel like, if anything, it's going to be Eldar, right? Because High Elves, we've just had Empire. We haven't had a big 40k release, so it's probably... But we've had more information about High Elves. Oh, you've thrown me off. You've thrown me off. I don't know. It's a difficult question to answer. Anyway, yes. So, we've got the Prince, which is capped to 500 points, but it's a good loadout. I think, yeah, you're probably right with a 2x Opal Amulet. Because of Killing Blow, it'll stop a couple of cannonballs, so that's fine. And you're still, you know, T6 with 9 wounds. 2 up armor save. Oh, there's no shield. Ooh, there's no shield. Don't know if not having a magic weapon on my prince is a good idea. I always ball with just a great weapon on an elf. It's definitely, you know, what you expect to face. If you're worried about the Green Knight, having magical attacks is good. But I'm a big believer in just great weapon. That said, the Prince is... Sorry, the Star Dragon is the best dragon, because look at this. Weapon skill 7. Absolutely huge. Means you're going to be hitting a lot of things on 2s instead of 3s. And it is low weapon skill. Sorry, low initiative. Doesn't really matter. And you get more stomp attacks. You could probably get away with... so if I was going to change this, I would... I guess, what would you look at? Biting Blade sucks here. Because the only reason... my brain's being forgetful. I remembered it's pointy-eared release this weekend for the pre-order. Oh, has it been announced that there's something? I don't know. I need to look. I won't be able to watch it live, but thank you for reviewing your list. No worries, Two Hands. Which was your list? I want to make sure that I have got it on here. Looking to catch the VOD tomorrow. Yeah, no worries. I just want to make sure that I've definitely got it in. Never noticed that it was weapon skill 7. Yeah, it's real good. I'm really looking forwards to potentially running Double Dragon with High Elves when the new book comes out, depending on what else comes in, because Double Dragon Dark Elves is very good, and High Elves have the best dragons in the game, so there's something I want to play around with. Two Hands. I don't remember putting your list in it. Did you submit a list, Two Hands? I'm going to get through, and because I'm not sure if Two Hands is still here. If not, and I didn't get to your list for whatever reason, because I'm not seeing it in here. Maybe you're talking about one that you submitted previously, and I've not gone back and looked. Hit me up, and I'll you know, send you some messages about the list if I don't get it on, because it's not on here. But yeah, all right. So the other option you could go for is, what magic weapon would we go for on this? Because you've only got... God, you just don't have any points, realistically. There's not a good cheap weapon for High Elves, is there? God, no, there isn't. There's a faux pain. Ooh. I think Great Weapon is kind of necessary. If you're 500 points capped, I don't think you can do anything else. The only other thing that I would do is, it depends. Are you more scared of poison shooting, or are you more scared of being killing blowed? Because if you're more scared of poison shooting, take a shield, take the double, or you could even just take off one opal amulet. Maybe that's like the middle ground, right? So you take off one of the opal amulets, you put on a charmed shield, which gives, I'll tell you what, let's go enchanted shield. And that still gives you 10 points if you need them. I don't think the biting blade or sword of might is enough to deal with a green ice, so I don't really want to. You can drop an eagle if needed. Yeah, it's more just keeping under the 500 points here for the prince that I'm trying to think. I think I'd be tempted to drop one Seed of Rebirth and go either enchanted shield or charmed shield. Dealer's choice. I think because you've got a regen and you've got a single 2-up ward, I think I'd be more tempted to go for the enchanted shield because you can block one cannonball. But that's kind of splitting hairs. It's not a big thing. It's just this will get you to a 2-up save, which is quite nice against poison shooting, which is one of the big things that this list will fold to. And you still have some level of defense against the killing blow with a single opal amulet. Archmage, you've gone Silvery Wand, Lawmaster's Cloak, Battle Magic. I'm assuming you're not changing into any of the Law of Sapphire spells, because Hand of Cain is bad, Courage of Venarian remains in play, so realistically it's not going to last, and then Voles and Making. No one should let you cast it on them. I think for me, I'm getting rid of Silvery Wand, and I'm putting on Law Familiar, because I think it's more important to have the spells that you want. Hey, Hemok, hope you're doing well. So I think those are the changes I'd make there. I'd make the Prince up to a 2-up save, and I'll drop one of the Opal Amulets for it, give him an Enchanted Shield for that always-on 6-up ward against non-magical attacks. Archmage, we're going to go with Law Familiar over Silvery Wand, and then we just need to shave some points. We only need to shave 5 points, so that's not too bad. Here, you've got Triple Elven Archers. They're absolutely fine as core. Loth and Seaguard. If you want to go infantry, these are fine. How do we shave 5 points here? I don't really want to shave a musician. Are you planning on putting a caster in the unit? Or, like, are you putting the Archmage in the Loth and Seaguard? Or is it going in the Phoenix Guard? Or the Sisters of Avalon? I'm assuming it's not going in the Loth and Seaguard, so I'm just going to... I don't really want to drop the Seamaster. Difficult. Archmage with the Sisters. That makes loads of sense. Cool. Skycutter, the Eagle-Eye Bolt Thrower. So, is it Ballistic Skill 4? Okay, so it's Ballistic Skill 4. And I think it's Ponderous, isn't it? No, it's Cumbersome. Okay. Strength 5, AP 3, Cumbersome. So, you're realistically going to be hitting on 5s for long range and move and shoot. I don't know if this is worth the 25 points. I might be tempted to shave that here. But it's also not the end of the world. Like, I don't mind anything else. There are some choices in here that are, like, not optimal, but they're also, like, if you like them, it's not the end of the world to run them. Especially if you know, obviously Phoenix Guard is a big brick of points. You know what I'd probably do? If you're running the big brick of Phoenix Guard, let's at least give them some static combat res. Let's go Close Order 2 ranks, BSB, Standard War Banner. That gives you 5. You could even put a War Banner in there. Not a War Banner, a BSB. But that only takes you to 6. There is the option to get them to really high with Battle Banner. I don't think that's worthwhile. Maybe you just go... Hold on. Standard, 2 ranks, Close Order, War Banner. So the Battle Banner does risk getting you up to that 7, so a dragon can't beat you, but it's so unreliable. I think War Banner's fine here. I think it's worth going for a little bit of combat res. That's fine. And then the Sisters of Avalon, Double Great Eagle. I think you just drop the Eagle-Eye Bolt Thrower, and then you drop 5 points somewhere. Of which I'm not in love with any of these choices. Like, I guess you just go down to 19 here, and then you've got 12 points to play with. Is there anything else that's worth running? You know what? This might be worth putting on. What's it called? What is it called? Oh, you've got the Lawmaster's Cloak already. Yeah, no, of course. That's what I was looking for, to give you a ward save against shooting. And then you've got 12 points left. It's not really much of anything that's worth 12 points, is there? I guess this is 12, more than 12. Oh, there we go. I think all I've really done here is changed a couple of efficiency choices, because you've got the bones of it, right? I think the Skycut is fun, but I don't know that I'd put it in. The Great Eagles definitely can have a role if you use them as like redirectors or War Machine Hunters, so I don't hate those in the slightest. The Sisters of Avalon are great. Obviously, you've given them some protection, and the Ruby Ring of Ruin is really nice. Phoenix Guard, if you're taking them, you may as well give them the stack, the combat res, make them a proper anchor. Lothan Sea Guard will do some incidental damage. Razor Stand will help with that. The Archers are good just to fill out the chaff. Although, I guess it gives you drops as well, if that's what you're looking for. And then we've just sort of made the other parts slightly more efficient here. Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I think that is solid, keeping to the theme. There we go. Hams fan, bollocks, missed the start. Hey! Fortunately, I didn't start with you. I was seeing if anyone was here, and luckily enough, some people were here when I wasn't. Right, okay, so let's go on to list number 2, which would be list number 1, which is Hams fan. No worries, Thomas. If you have any thoughts about it, or you want to make any changes, or you get some play in with it, drop it in the High Elf channel, and then at me, so I see it, and I can weigh in on any changes that you've made. Hams fan, we've got a 1500 point list here for you. So, I can't remember if there was anything that you said restriction-wise on this one. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. You said, for a 1500 point event where you start with 1000 points and build up to 1500, for the 1k you drop the Blunderbuss, Doggos, Khan, and the Death Shrieker. With the first event you go to, only really played games using my Empire with mates, so the help would be very welcome and probably greatly needed. No worries. Okay. So, do you like Chaos Dwarves because you like the actual Chaos Dwarves? Because if you do, that's fine. We can build around them. Not a problem. They are less optimal. They are very expensive for what they're bringing, and they are making your army less efficient. However, if you like them, we can build around them. Not a problem. This brick in particular, to me, this screams it's doing what the Dwarf brick does, but just more expensive. And I think the Dwarf brick is very good, so I think this is good, but it's just, it doesn't have a lot of the stuff that the dwarves have in them. What it does have is Shield Wall and Stubborn, which is really nice. You need to know when you're going to use your shields, because sometimes you just need to take the charge, go to auto Stubborn, auto give ground instead of fall back in good order, and just soak the charge for something else. I think that's absolutely fine. I almost wonder if you'd want to put a BSB in, but I don't know if you can make a BSB tanky, right? Because you're just a 2 wounds. You are T5, 2 wounds, and you start off with heavy armor. You don't even have full plate. It would be so expensive to get this thing up to a good defensive stature. You could give it a Mantle of Stone and Armor of Meteoric Iron, so it's T6, but I think we're getting into the silly realm. So, okay, we've got 2 here. I really like the Hobgoblin Khan. This thing is great. You've got the Giant Wolf, Ruby Ring of Ruin. You've given it the upgrades here, which you may as well do. It's fairly cheap. And you've got it paired up with a unit of 5 Hobgoblin Riders. These things are great. Here's the first thing. You're going to want Reserve Move and Feigned Flight. So the reason that you're going to want those is Feigned Flight, obviously when you run away, and this is when you flee or fire and flee, you auto-rally. This unit wants to dance around the edges of the board, or to bait out frenzy charges, anything like that. You're going to have the Hobgoblin Khan in, so what you want to do is get into range to cast your spells, do your shooting, and then get out of there, or to reposition, get out of charge arcs. So paying for the Reserve Move is really nice, and Feigned Flight is good as well. I'd also be tempted to buff them up a little bit. 5 models feels just a little bit... I worry a little bit about how survivable they are, so, you know, maybe we go up here a little bit, because you've got loads of points in core that we can shave away. Chaos Dwarves, the army in which the worst parts of the Chaos Dwarf. It's true and it's sad, but if if someone likes them, we can absolutely build around them, because that is kind of the whole point of the series. So I think the Khan is fantastic. I'm buffing up the Hobgoblin Riders a little bit. Then you've got the artillery. I quite like this. 2 Bolt Throwers and a Death Shrieker. Death Shrieker's great. This is a really good bit of artillery. For those of you who don't know, it's got the Demolition Rockets, which is a Strength 6 middle hole, AP 3, D6 wounds. So you're only wounding a dragon on a 4-up, but if it goes through, it's really strong, and it shoots like a stone thrower. And then it's also got the option for a big blast template, so it's quite flexible, and it's relatively cheap, and your Sorcerer Prophet gives you rerolls if you're within range, so that's all good. Here we've got the Sorcerer Prophet, speaking of. Dark Forged Weapon. I think this goes in if you want to... This only goes in for me if you've got 10 points spare. I don't think I like it, because on the Wizard, I really like the +1 to cast, which is a 1 in 6. I don't hate the Magic Resist one. That's pretty cool. Everything else is incredibly whatever. So you've got a 1 in 6 effect to get something really good. You've got a 1 in 6 effect to get something that's kind of beneficial. And then you've got a 2 in 3 chance to get nothing. So I'm just going to drop that for now, because you've got AP1 attacks anyway. You're a level 4 on a Lamassu with a Sorceress Exhalation, and you've gone for the full defensive output. I don't hate that, because I'm assuming that you're not taking the Talisman of Protection, so you can take Storm of Ash, obviously very good, giving a bubble of -1 to hit rolls, very strong there. Demonology is just a good lore. The Lamassu's not as good as the Taurus, so you could maybe even play around with Elementalism. But, because you're not going to take the reason that you might take Demonology, right, is you might take the Summoning. I feel like you're probably not taking the Summoning if you've got Storm of Ash available. So maybe you go Elementalism, try and roll into the good spells in here, which would be Plague of Rust, which is very good. Earthen Ramparts is very good. Wind Blast is very good. And TMP is very good. These are all solid. He's got Lore Familiar. I don't think he does. Oh, am I? I think that's meant to be Talisman of Protection. I think when I looked at this, yeah, it's Talisman of Protection. I just transferred it across incorrectly when I put the list in. I knew he didn't have it. Good spot there, though. There we go. Swap that across. Sneaky Gits are fun. They have got Ambush, haven't they? And they've also got... Yeah, I mean, they're cheap. They're 66 points to be a pain in the backside. With something like this that is, Leadership 5 is quite likely to run away. I quite like having a Musician, because you're going to run away at some points. Just getting that rally is really nice. Lovely stuff. Light armor would be a waste here. Other than that, how many points are we over? 42. Sneaky Gits have sexy models too. Sneaky Gits. Let's have a look. Is it these ones? Oh, that's not what I was trying to find. Is it that? Have you got the old classic Chaos Dwarfs? Because if yes, I'm very impressed. Those are pretty cool. They are sneaky as well. Yeah, so I think if this is the way that you want to go, we probably... I don't know that this... I mean, this is cheap, right? I'd be tempted to give them bows, but if you've got models with just hand weapon shields, then fair enough. Maybe we just cut a couple of Infernal Guard down to 17. That's still pretty good. I think because you're going great weapons, you might... And you haven't got any characters to do a lot of the heavy lifting. With regular dwarves, what you want to do is you go with this squad in quite a ranked up unit with a very tanky BSB and shield bearers. Add static combat res, does some damage, tanks challenges. This unit doesn't have that, but you do have great weapons as well, so you're just going to go wide. You don't have a great Taurus, unfortunately, on Lamassu. That's fine. I think the Lamassu's super solid. I think it just changes how you play, right? Which is okay. It's not a bad shout. So I think this is... Yeah, this is some changes that I would make. What I will say, I started out with Chaos Dwarves, and I didn't do very well with them, but that's because I hadn't played Fantasy in a long time. So I found them very difficult to play because they've got such a small movement, and I was trying to play bricks of infantry as well. And you also haven't gotten for the steam tank, which is not like a necessary, but it is very good. But yeah, so definitely play them if you've got them. If you like them, try them around. But if you struggle with them, I'd say don't be disheartened. You know, it might just be that they've got low movement and they're a little more difficult to play because of that. Because you've got to get your positioning really good. All right. Perfect. Who else did we see? I'm sure we had exported champion here. I think that's Chris, if I remember correctly. Yeah, you are. Cool. Hope you're still here. No worries, Ham's fine. Again, if you've got any thoughts, feel free to post them in the correct Chaos Dwarf channel and at me, and I can have a look. Edward Moores, I'm Ed, and also here. Perfect. Well, let's go with you then, Ed, because we know that you're here. So, High Elves again. So you're wanting to know what you think you should build towards. It's difficult to say because we don't know what's coming in the book. And by that, I mean, like, obviously we have some thoughts. We're going to get Sea Guard. We're going to get White Lions. Yeah, no worries, Chris. I'll get to you as soon as we've done this one then, now that I know you're with us. And for High Elves, we know there's Sea Guard, we know there's White Lions, but we don't know what else we're getting in the book. So the things that are going to make this list better in terms of the dragons are what magic items are there, what external upgrades are that we can layer on top of it. So it's Ed's just jumped right in. No, it's all right. It's better to do it when people are here. So we'll go through here. So I think these are good. I would be tempted to build this to 500 points. Is my concern. So you've gone Dragon Helm, Seed of Rebirth, 2x Amulet of Opal Amulet, Talisman of Protection, Pure Heart. This is like the obvious build. I really like you've gone for a great weapon instead of a lance. I value that very highly. Just in like drawn out combats against other dragons, it makes such a big difference. And you've already got the triple save, so you don't really need to. What you're going to struggle with is you're going to have to drop some of this to get below 500 points if that change comes in. But that's okay. We can address that problem when it comes to it. I think, like we were talking about, whose list was it? Thomas's list. I think I like the Helm, Rebirth, single Opal Amulet, and then Enchanted or Charmed Shield. I think that's probably how I would go if I wanted to drop this below 500 points and still be very effective. Especially because you've got a great weapon, so in combat you're not using the shield as much. So, yeah, it is what it is. So that's good. Level 4 Dragon, I have also come to the conclusion if you want to play 2 Dragons and High Elves, you have to go for a Moon Dragon, which is super fine. What you've gone here, Silvery Wand, Ruby Ring of Rune, I'd absolutely change that one up. So we're going to drop the Ruby Ring of Rune because we can put it in the Sisters. That's just something I think we should be doing. And we definitely want to put in either Talisman or Seed of Rebirth. In this case, I'm not expecting to be in combat all that much, so I think Seed of Rebirth's really good. And can you sneak an Opal Amulet in as well? No, 7 points too many. I would like a single Opal Amulet as well, if you could get it, but it's not the end of the world if you can't. Silvery Wand, what lore have you gone for? Battle Magic. I can't remember. I feel like there was some typing on yours as well. I think you said you were curious about the starting. No, that was someone else. So, in your list, you've gone for... What have you gone for? High Magic. Oh, yes, Ethereal. So, I think if we're doing this, what I would like to see on here, we've got 13 points available. Oh, only 13 points available. Right, we're going to make some changes. So we're going to drop Talisman of Protection. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's go Enchanted Shield. Let's go one less Opal Amulet. So this gets us below 500 points, but most importantly, it lets us buff this one up as well, because we're going to want to go... How many points do we want? 455. Take off the Silvery Wand, put on the Lore Familiar, because a lot of the defense that we're leaning on for the Archmage is getting Ethereal. So I think it's very important to get Ethereal. I want a shopping list and to make people curse my name in tournaments. Ah, okay. Jonathan says you're very quiet compared to the adverts. Let's have a look. If I adjust this wheel, am I louder or quieter? Oh, that's definitely quieter, right? So let me go back up. And then let me just... 2 seconds. There we go. I think that should help things. So. Where was I? Seed of Rebirth, Lore Familiar. How many points we got left? Okay, we got 38 points available. I'm going to put a single power scroll on, because at some point, you're going to be in range of your opponent. You're going to need that ethereal, and you're going to wish that you had the ability to get it. So that's what we're going with. I think this is kind of what I would go with. Adverts are always deafening. Yeah. Bloody adverts. I mean, it is most of my revenue from YouTube, but so I shouldn't really complain. But, you know, on the other hand, bloody adverts. Loth and Seaguard is fine. Illyrian Reavers. I'm super underwhelmed by Illyrian Reavers. Like, I don't feel like they ever do anything. But then some people really sing their praises. No worries, Jonathan. I'm not wedded to high magic. It seemed alright. So the problem is, let's go back and have a look at it. High magic fucking sucks. High magic sucks. Drain magic is bad. Walk Between Worlds is very good. Fiery Convocation is situationally decent. Tempest is situationally good. Corporeal Unmaking is... I mean, it's... You take it if you're planning on getting into combat, which you probably will. Fury of Cain does give you +1 attack on your dragon, or onto, like, the prince, so that the prince has an extra attack and the dragon has an extra attack. And then Shield of Safri is honestly not bad in this list, because you don't have a consistent ward save. So it's fine, and you need to put more effort into killing your opponent in melee. So honestly, high magic is probably okay. Why are Illyrian Reavers underwhelming? Well, I don't know what they do. There's 6 shots, which let's assume we haven't gone for an upgraded sergeant, because the sergeant is quite expensive. So you're hitting on 3s. You've got short bows, so you're probably hitting on 4s because long range. You've got no AP. You have strength 3. They just don't kill very much. In combat, you do have the cavalry spears, which I do like, but from playing my Dark Riders, I find I often don't use them, and it's only a strength 4 AP 1 attack, which is, you know, it's fine. You have to pay for skirmishes, which really drives me nuts. Scouts as well. Now that scouts have been clarified to affect the go first roll, I think I wouldn't bother rolling, like, paying for scouts. I think I'd take those off. I'd also always put musician on these Illyrian Reavers. Like, the Harbinger doesn't give you leadership now. Light cavalry is always going to run away, so you definitely want to have the tools to deal with it. These Reavers might predate the changes to the way scouts work. That's fair. Yeah, that's not a problem at all. The Reavers don't reliably kill a Goblin Obnob. That's pretty sad. So here is fine. I'm on the fence about Veteran. I feel like I'm very tempted to put Veteran in on a Brick of Loth and Seaguard. It could well have been use of core points so it didn't need drops. Yeah, that's fair. Are they the worst light shooting cav? I think they might be, yeah. Because of how expensive they are and their output, I'm underwhelmed. But, you know, in fact, let's just get rid of one of these. I'm assuming that out of the 2, the Loth and Seaguard brick is the one that's the good list, right? So this is probably the way we want to go. And I'm tempted to put Veteran in. So let's just call it 28 with Veteran. I always like this kind of unit and thought them pretty powerful. They're fine. The unit archetype is good. This is like one of the, in my opinion, less good versions of it, because you're paying a lot for stats that don't really do anything. Why not remove all the Reavers and just add some Seaguard? I do like one unit, you know, being able to get some flank charges potentially, or going in for getting skirmishes, threatening their wizards, tying up the war machines, move blocking, march blocking. There's definitely options there. I don't hate them at all. Core is the thing you had just no idea about. Core is really difficult. And Core, we actually can't really talk about Core all that much, because it's going to change drastically, I think, with the book. However, I think Loth and Seaguard would be my #1 guess for what's going to be decent. And then a unit of Illyrian Reavers is probably going to be okay. In here, Spearmen, no. Small units of Archers are good. Silver Helms are pretty okay. Sis of Avalon, you can't take them here, but if you had the ability to take them because of the Handmaiden, that's the best version of them. Giving up 120 points, not really achieving much. So the nice thing about them is, because they're fast cav, you can usually keep them alive. You get them down to like 2 models, and then you just run behind a building and you give up no points, which is pretty easy to do. In the rare, I like that you've gone for the rare. So we're going to go Ruby Ring of Ruin on 1 High Sister. 1 point too many. That's very disappointing. Let's just drop the High Sister off the other 2, because we don't really need it. It doesn't add anything, I don't think. Pippa Ballistic Skill. Nothing on the leadership there. And then you've still got 30 points to play around with. Archers supporting the Sea Guard is very different. And 2 Bolt Throwers and a unit of Princes. I find the Bolt Throwers to be very expensive, because it's a single shot that's realistically hitting on 4s most of the time, right? If you're going for this unit, I've seen a lot of people talk about using the Razor Standard on the Sea Guard, which I'm pretty okay with, because you've got volume of firepower, and a lot of the time you're going to be wounding on 5s or 6s. So when you're wounding on 6s, 50% of your wounds against tougher targets, or 100% of your wounds against the tough targets, you're getting plus AP, which is obviously very strong. So I think something like this is probably where I would sit. So let me just, there we go. Job's a good one. All right, perfect. Well, thank you for your patience. Who was next up? I think it was Exported Champion. Yeah, it was. Chris, come on down, Chris. 3s within 24, quite reliable. Always Razor. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, no worries at all. It'll be interesting to see what comes out for High Elves. I'm really excited to see what's in the book. Morning, Entropy. How are you doing? Happy Is it Australian Labour Day weekend? It was Australian something weekend. I can't remember what it was, but happy whatever this weekend is to you. I hope you're doing well. All right. So, Chris's list. I like this. Is your list in the running? Russell, it absolutely is, and you're next on my drop down, so we'll get to you after this one. Too many single chariots. Australia Day weekend. Hell yeah, have a good one, mate. Chariots. I don't know. I wanted to ask you what the thought was behind the single chariots, because I don't hate it. And they are cheap. They are cheap. Like, this is... the stat line is kind of underwhelming. T4, 3 wounds, and 5 up save. The problem with single chariots is they fall over to a fart, and then you don't get to res them. If you are running them as a unit of 4 or 5, the chance of them dying is low, and then when you heal them, you heal back 4 wounds from the High Priest. Chaff, hunt machines, and cheap, filling out core, and lots of drops. That's fair, Chris. I haven't got experience with this, but I'm very curious to see how it works. I'd love to hear, like, if you play this list, I'd love to hear how it goes, because I think it's a really interesting direction to take things in. So if we go through, you've got a great loadout on the Tomb King. Talisman of Protection, Armor of Ages, Great Weapon, Shield. Can't argue with it. That's perfect in my eyes. High Priest, you've gone for a Ruby Ring of Ruin, Warding Splint, and Necromancy. I think this is really good. Obviously, the Illusion Caster is, like, obviously strong. But hopefully better than against your Dark Elves. Well, yes. Where was I at? Yeah, Ruby Ring of Ruin, Warding Splint, Necromancy. I think this is a really great loadout because it still lets you take Reserve Move, whereas if you're going Illusion, you have to take Lore Familiar. So I think this is actually a really good loadout, and I played earlier today a High Priest Illusion Caster, realised that I wasn't able to take Reserve Move, and it kind of just made the rest of the list feel a little bit flat. Morning, Anthony. So yeah, this is one of the options, and it's one that I like. The only downside is because you're not, it's not the general. You don't get the big bubble of Reserve Move, but it's still pretty good, I think. Leverage the leadership debuffs with the terror-causing monsters. You absolutely can, yeah. And then you've got the Mortuary Priest, obviously level 1, not a BSB because this is Grand Army. I'm assuming you're going for the reroll ones to hit spell. I always forget the name of this one. It's Curse Blades. Yeah, Curse Blades rerolling and hits 1. It's so funny to me that it's called Curse Blades because it's almost always shooting. I don't hate Glittering Robe, but no Reserve Move is sad. Yeah, 100%. You could build a list that didn't need it. In fact, this list arguably doesn't. Oh, that was the thing. So you've got the poison shooting block, but you don't have TMP, which is bold. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Although, you know, you do have warbows, a 24-inch range. It's interesting. It's less commitment. All you're putting into it is 370 points. And it still has a threat that sort of gives you some protection. So I think that's worth playing around with, and not committing a full level 4 to. So I'd be interested to see how that goes. Double Tomb Scorpion. Tomb Scorpions are great. Double Necrosphinx. I think it can still be a decent area threat and not die. Yeah, I agree, Chris. I think that's an interesting approach. I think against some armies, you're going to just... It's going to get crunched because people are just going to rush you down. But you've got the threats to deal with that because you've got double T6 here. Oh, actually, High Priests are only T5, aren't they? Oh, I hate the way they do toughness on dragons for casters. But yeah, T5. You've got 3 T6 and a T5. So yeah, I like this. I don't think there's much I'd change here. I actually think the Tomb King is perfect. This is just like the accepted, correct loadout, right? The High Priest is Ruby Ring of Ruin, Warding Splint. I love this. I really like this loadout. I hadn't really considered it until I saw yours. I think it's great. I love this. Mortuary Priest with the Amulet of Serpent, bare bones. I might be tempted to find the points to make it level 2, and then you could roll Elementalism and maybe get TMP. That doesn't feel like too much of a downside. Would the Hobgoblin Khan benefit from the Wolf Rider's Reserve move? It would indeed, which is very strong. Would recommend. So, how can we make this work? Because I think this is worth making level 2, and then you've got a 1 in 3 chance of getting TMP, but even if you don't get TMP, you might get Plague of Rust, you might get Earthen Ramparts, you might get Windblast, you might get TMP. Like, there's a lot of spells that are worth rolling for in there. You'd have to drop a Scorpion to get to the level 2. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it, Chris? That is the problem. Because you're not dropping the Necrosphinx. And I do like the Double Tomb Scorpion. And the Skeleton Chariots are core, so we can't cut there. There's nothing here that I want to cut. 26 points over. I think basically it boils down to, do you want to risk the roll for the second spell, or do you not want to bother? We can drop 10 points here on ambushes, but there's nothing else we can realistically drop. Yeah. Let's just have a look at what it would look like if we dropped the Tomb Scorpion. So this gives us 49 points, which is Carrion. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, no. We could put 2 Carrion in and drop the ambush here. Like, I don't think this is necessarily better. I think I prefer your version of it, honestly. But the one change you could do is if you wanted to fish for one of the 4 good spells with the Mortuary Priest, go up to level 2, 1 Tomb Scorpion, 2 Carrion. Carrion, I think, are underutilized. Obviously, they're very fast, fly 10, so you can just march them up. They don't have to be beholden to the reserve move. They're T4 with only 2 wounds each, and they don't have a save. I don't think they... Yeah, they've got a 6-up regen, but they're quite attacks dense, so if you can get them into war machines, they can do a lot. And in theory, you've got so much here that your opponent isn't going to be shooting at the Carrion, because you just full send forwards with like the Necrosphinx, the Double Dragon, all of the chariots, and you kind of you have some wiggle room there. So yeah, I think I like your version more. Falconhorn move 2, yeah, but it's also 54 points, and you can put them in front of the. I guess you put them in front of the Archer brick. Use them as a redirector. That's not a good use of them, but yeah. 54 points is the sort of points level where I'm not too upset when I see my opponent having the Falconhorn. I'm not going to bother linking this one, Chris. I think your version is better than mine. I really like this High Priest loadout, so that's good. I'm not even going to ask. I'm just going to assume you came up with it and you didn't see it on Discord anywhere. So good shit there, man. But yeah, you could drop a Tomb Scorpion, go Elementalism level 2, and 2 Carrion. Take that as a win. Yeah, no worries, mate. It's a good list. I like it. I think this is, in my eyes, a more interesting build. It's very similar to what I was playing. I played the Skeletons together. I didn't play the Brick of Archers because I was playing more of a pressure style, with the illusion caster, and just sort of full sending forwards. But I think the 2 dragon, 2 necrosphinx list is probably how I would be building Tomb Kings going forwards if we see like a level 4 cap. Cool. All right, Reaver Games. Oh yeah, I remember this list. So I'm going to start off by saying the list that you have is fundamentally different to how I see Dark Elves, and that doesn't mean it's bad, but I'm looking at it and going, what is going on here? So I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's so different to how I've played that I'm really interested to hear your sort of play experience with it, because I assume you've played some variation of it. I am a Witch Elf hater. I struggle to justify putting them in because they are very expensive T3 models with no save, which is a problem. Did you see the tournament scoring? Oh, thank you for the reminder. Let me just go up. I think it's the one that I've got open in a second tab. But let me just go up and read it. Yes, yeah, it was the Old World event pack. So if we just go to here. So, let's have a quick look. East Yorkshire, not too far away from me. I'm not really travelling for events at the moment. And also, I think that might be the weekend of an event I'm at, but it's insane. Okay, let's have a look at this. So, army selection. Anything used... maximum of 5 core, maximum of 3 for non-core, or whichever is fewest. That's cool. I like that. No allies, mercenaries are included. That's fine. Army list, that's fine. Painting and modelling. Battle ready. Approach. Yep, that's cool. Scoring. What the fuck? Oh, yeah. Both players. I remember seeing this. In fact, is someone at the same event as you? I feel like if I scroll down, someone else is at the same event. I'll get back to that later. Yeah, this is super interesting. So basically, you want more to die. In that world, I am way more keen on the Witch Elves because they probably will die. But if they get there, they're going to hit real hard. Okay, so let's build around that. So... I don't think there was anything else in there. There wasn't any sort of like model restrictions or anything you'd posted, was there? Because I think... Oh, yeah, there we go. You'd put... No, that was it. So, let's start from the top. Level 4. I like this level 4. You've got Elementalism, Tome of Fury, Focus Familiars, Rebrewing Ruin. I'm assuming this is to give the Witch Elves... This is where witches shine, yeah, because they die. I think Elementalism is interesting. Because... theoretically, you've got the extra AP on the Witch Elves anyway. I guess you're getting them from AP1 to AP3, so Plague of Rust is quite strong here. I'm assuming you're taking it just the death tax. Yeah, that's fair. I'm assuming you're taking Elementalism mostly for Plague of Rust, and then also TMP is good, and the ward save is nice to try and get the Witch Elves up the board. I'm assuming that's how that goes. And then the level 2, you've gone for Demonology with a Lore Familiar, which, as we can all see, would be for Steed of Shadows, because you're going to get Fly 12. And then you also get to take the Summoning as well, which is pretty pog. Wait, that's the same event. Yes, Connor! I thought I'd seen someone else talk about it. Cool. I hope you both play round 1 and just get to experience the madness that is this tournament. And plus toughness. Yeah, okay. Plus toughness doesn't last until the opponent's turn, though. Prepare to die. Yeah, fair. You know what? God, this is looking at it from such a different angle. So, the Cauldron of Blood worries me, because dragged along means that this will almost never charge, because your declarable charge range is only 8 inches, because your movement is 2, and then you plus 6 to it. Unless it's been FAQ'd separately, which would be cool. But as it stands... I don't like the Cauldron of Blood because you don't get to charge any real distance with it. That would be my main concern here. What's the comp pack? Basically, you add the total victory points scored from both players to determine each player's score. Which is... So, like, I guess you start off by who's destroyed the most. And then if I have... 1100 and my opponent has 1000, we've got 2100, so I score 10 and they score 5 because there's a lot of blood. As far as they know, they replaced the movement stat, so it'd be movement 5. The way it works, Ian, is you do it when you move for dragged along. So let's just have a quick look. So dragged along, when it begins its movement within 1 inch, so at the point you declare the charge, your movement is still 2. After you start moving, you move 5. So you can declare 8, and your minimum charge distance is 6 because it goes up to 5 plus the 1. Maybe check with your TO if they're willing to change that, because if not, I think it's fun. It's a cool model. S tier rule that. Yeah, S for shit. But, yeah. Otherwise, like, if we assume that it works, and talk to your TO about how they want to rule dragged along, because otherwise it's basically non-functional for melee stuff like this. The Golden Blood does have some interesting rules. So, it has got... So bad. Why? I know, mate. I know. Blessings of Cain, you've got a bound spell which does some damage, but also you get to give it one of the following. Oh no, it's not it's just a buff spell, sorry. So you can give them Furious Charge, a Ward Save, or the Cleaving Blow. So that's good, I like that. Either way it's going, hell yeah, I like that. I respect that. So this does give them some sticking power. It's going just not fast. It's going real fast, unless you try to charge. Technically, I think the way that it works is if you cast Dragged Along on a unit next to it, you get to march 12 inches or march 24. But again, double check with your TO, because the first time you do that at the table, someone's going to go, Judge, I need to have clarification. Cool. Pendant of Caleth, yeah, that makes sense. This is fine. Cry of War is good as well. This is -1 leadership, which is just solid. I believe the Cauldron of Blood causes terror as well. Let me just double check. Yes, it does. So there's some nice combinations there. I understand how you got to this point. The Death Hag, if you're doing the brick of, the brick of Witch Elves, you take the Death Hag with Ogre Blade and the Rune of Cain. Rune of Cain gives you plus D3 attacks, which is good. You have Frenzy, so you get 3 plus 1 for Frenzy, plus D3 for Rune of Cain, and you've got Hatred all enemies. This is just solid, right? This is just solid. So it's a very good Ogre Blade user. It's just I don't believe in the full package. However, I understand the concept. I'm on board. I think this is fun. What I would change is I can't justify this. I know the Charybdis will give up points when it dies, but I don't want it to die without doing anything. So what I'd be tempted to do here is I'd be tempted to buff up the Cold One Knights just a little bit more. Not giving them the Banner of Hargoneth sucks a little bit, but I understand why you want it on the Witch Elves. And then, what else have you got? I mean, Doomfire Warlocks are... They're better now in comparison to Sisters than they were, I guess, so that's fun. But you've got so many points. Is the Charybdis like a pet unit? Should I put it back in? Will you be sad if it's not there? Because I don't want to make you sad. And that sounds really condescending. I didn't mean it to. Here's the problem with Charybdis. It hits so hard. Strength 7, and it has D3 plus 1 stomp attacks, and it's a behemoth, and it's got 5 attacks, but you've got the writhing tentacles as well. So, is it the Cavernous Maw? I think it's the Cavernous Maw. 1 attack. Oh no, maybe. Oh, it's the Hydra I'm thinking of. No, but it is consistently up front. Hey, if you like having it, we're just going to leave it in. I took it out and immediately felt bad. So what I would do is I would change here. Like, let's go 8 Dark Riders and take out the... Oh no, the Witch Elves are fine. Yeah. How many tickles does it have? It has so many tickles. I don't think the repeater crossbows are worth doing. I think I would go something like this and just buff up what we've got here a little bit, basically. Just go slightly more efficient with the core, right? So can we get... Yeah, something like that. 7 Harpies might be too many. 6 is kind of the sweet spot, I think. I don't know that there's anything else that I'd put in here. Why is this 166? Oh, you haven't paid for Scout. That makes sense, because Scout is not as good as it was. I'm just used to seeing 172 on there. Is there anything else that we can squeeze in here? You know what would be good, actually? Oh, you haven't got the points for it. That's a bummer. That is a bummer. Crossbows are a bit of a stand and shoot block. Or Alright. I mean, I'm not sold Because what it means is, like, I think a unit of 5 Dark Riders is doing very little. I like my unit of Dark Riders to be bigger, right? I guess... How many Witch Elves would you have to drop to get to here? 18, alright, that's feeling a bit low. It's difficult to make tweaks. Like, I feel like there's a bit of a SS equals level 4. Oh, as in, like, it's where your caster goes. Right, yeah, I understand. Okay, so that does need to stay in. I think the problem is, I'm not wowed by the 5 Dark Riders. I'm not wowed by the Charybdis. I'm not wowed by the Doomfire Warlocks. I feel like I want to squeeze a little bit more efficiency out of something here, which is difficult to justify what it is. I think you probably want the 3 Focus Familiars if you're standing at the back. That is fair. Yeah. Got the Tome of Fury. Yeah, you have. Cool. You just need something needs to go to fit, because I think this wants to be a bigger unit, so it actually does something. Even if we just go to 6, I could probably cope with 6, and then drop like the Harpies or something. I like the Harpies, but just getting it to the point where the units do slightly more. Yeah. I'm not sure. I think it's an interesting concept, and I just want to squeeze slightly more efficiency out of these units here, but I'm not really sure which direction you'd prefer to go. Well, I think we can probably leave that one for now, because I think we've looked at the core of what it is, which is this, and then I'd want the Dark Riders to be like a 6 to 8. I'd want the Cold ones, I think they might have been a 5. Were they a 5 before, or were they a 6? They were a 5, yeah. I'd want the Cold ones to be a 6. I'd want the Dark Riders to be a 6 to 8. The Crossbowmen being in makes sense because you've got somewhere to put the Supreme Sorceress. And then, like, just something needs to go, I think, out of the Doomfire Warlock, Charybdis, or Harpies, just so you can buff up the rest of your units. But I'll leave that to your personal taste. And you tweak as you prefer, or just play it as it is and have a great time. You know, all of these are good choices. Because I haven't made any concrete choices, I'll not post it in the chat, because you've got the base version there yourself. This is all good. This is the sort of stuff that if I tweaked, I'd have needed to post it. Good points, have a think. Cool, no worries. Again, feel free to tag me in the Dark Elf chat. We've got Calamity. Was there anyone else here who... Tell you what, I've seen Lord Kibbleston posting. Connor. Since we're talking about the tournament, let's just look at yours as well. Here's the thing. You've gone the other way. You've got a list that doesn't really die. So I think you're going to hinder your scoring, because partially going for Undead doesn't really die. Or that's like a central tenet of how it tries to play. So that's a little bit difficult. But also you've gone for choices that I think are going to be quite difficult to chip away at. So if I just sort of top to bottom critique some choices, and you let me know if there's anything that you would want to keep in. Both of these, I don't think it's worth paying for the ward save. Theoretically, they shouldn't be in harm's way. And if they are, a 5-up ward save, while nice, might not save them. I could see the warding splint on the High Priest that's the general. I probably still wouldn't go for it, but like at least that's a 5-up, 5-up. I'm still going to take that out. The Mortuary Priest here, level 1. I could see this going up to a level 2, but you don't have to. That's just an option. This is interesting to me. So you've gone for 5 Shabti with Ritual Blades, which is a choice that you don't see a lot of. Mortuary Cult is really good with bows. Is it just a sort of model restriction for what you have? I guess as well, if you want to get them into the mix, they're more likely to die if they're equipped with the Ritual Blades. If I'm going for the Ritual Blades, I'm taking the Ancient off, though. Because, obviously, they're only Strength 4, which is a bit of a bugger. Can you take them as the... that's a shame. You can't take them as the... whatchamacallums, Venerable Shabti. Tell you what I might be tempted to do, because you're overcapped on points anyway. Let's swap these over. So we're going to go 3 Ushabti. No idea how to break it up. No loyalty to anything. Okay, cool. So, lovely. So 3 Ushabti with bows, and we're going to put that in the core. I'm assuming that you've got 8 and 3 have bows, 3 have great weapons. That's the what I'm going with. Yeah. So if you want 3 with bows, give them an ancient, put them in core, and then the 5, I'd make the 5 venerable, because the venerable ones are weapon skill 5 and their strength 5. So even if a dragon charges them, there's a real risk that they'll do like a good chunk of damage. And I would give them the ancient. I wouldn't give them the ancient here, so you can't be challenged out by a dragon going into you and just wanting to win on combat res. The tomb swarms absolutely want to be a bigger unit. I like 4 for tomb swarms. You can go smaller. You could go 3. 2 is way too small in my opinion, because you want to be draining them to cast. And then you've got 2 Tomb Scorpions, a Necrosphinx, double Casket of Souls. I don't think double Casket of Souls is the way to go if you've got double Elementalism caster. In fact, let me just scroll down, because I think you might have been the Tomb Kings list that didn't have spell laws on. I could be wrong with that. Let's have a look here. Okay, so you had 1 with Elementalism and 1 without anything. 8 great weapons, 4 bows, can get some printed if needs be. Okay, so if you just want to make this more efficient, let's drop the Venerable, and let's just go, let's go 5 with great bows, and then maybe we're going another 3 with great bows. I think the bows are really good, and having them split up is really solid. I don't have an issue with that. So this way, you've got more shooting. If you're going the Casket of Souls build, you definitely want to go Necromancy, at which point I'm tempted to take a level 2. Oh, hold on. If we're doing this character, the Elementalism character, wants to take the Lore Familiar. The reason for that is you need to have TMP and Plague of Rust. 12 in total, 8 with blades, 4 with bows, but you could get some printed if you... Okay, let's just go back to what we had then. Let's go 3 with bows, and then these ones can be venerable with great weapons, because I think they're cool. You know, I think they're fun. They're not like the most optimal, but they're also not super non-optimal. High Priest, Amulet of the Serpent, good for the poison shots. Also Elementalism, so we're going Lore Familiar. You lose out on having... In fact, let's make this one not the general. Let's make this one the general. The reason being is you're not taking the reserve move spell on this caster. You're taking Elementalism. You're making sure you get TMP. That's really important. And also Plague of Rust is good. These 2 will go Necromancy. And let's make this a level 2. So you're rolling on your spells. The reason we're going Necromancy is obviously you've decided to go double Casket, which is a build I like, to be fair. But you want to be debuffing leadership if you're going for that. And how many points does that put us over? 100 points over. That's okay. We just need to make some cuts. Let's go down to 3 Tomb Swarms. That's something that we can super easily do. And that puts us basically capped at core. These 2 Scorpions are good. I guess if we drop this down to 4, and then we're 11 points over. That's a little bit of a bugger. It is hard to cut 11 points. It is hard. Let's just drop them entirely for now. Let's have a look at how that comes out. If we go 4 with bows, and then 48 is a bit low. I can't remember how many you had. 40 something, 54. You had 58. Let's go back to 58. In this unit, I definitely want the champion, so I can, if I get charged, I can sort of feed a unit champion to the dragon to prevent my characters from dying if they're in the unit or nearby. Gives me a little bit of flexibility. Skeleton Horse Archers are still really good. They're just less good than they were because you are going to be probably not scouting because you lose the +1. They also don't have reserve moves, so maybe we just drop the Horse Archers. I like them, but I think they're, like, post-FAQ, I think they're worse than they were. Do we go... Put them back to Ritual Blades. 2 points missing. That's fine. And then if we put back in the 3... writing this list, it's always just tweaking the points that is a little bit difficult. So the 5 with the Ritual Blades, you don't want to have an Ancient. The 3 with Great Bows, you do. We could definitely bump that up to a 4th one. And I've given you too many. This feels fine, like an extra... if it needs to be dropped, the caskets. I like the caskets build. I'm not opposed to it. And I think you kind of can have your cake and eat it too. What you can't do is you can't go for the Illusion Caster on Dragon and the Elementalism Caster and the Necromancy debuffs. I think you can pick 2. And I think if you go for the Necromancy debuff plus caskets, and then you also go for the Elementalism Teleporting Brick, I think that's absolutely fine. So this would be, in fact, let's go up to 4 here and then just drop a couple. So like this is a version of the list that I could absolutely see doing well. You've got the poison shooting, you've got a little bit of a melee brick with the Ushabti, you've got a single Necrosphinx, you've got double Cascade of Souls, you're going to always be able to have the protection if you need it. You've got 2 Tomb Scorpions, you've got the magic missiles here, and you've got Ushabti for days. So yeah, I think this list is solid. One of the best things about the list, the Mortuary Cult, is you can play around with it a lot, and you can really flavour it the way that you want to, which I think is a lot of fun. You don't have to go a certain way with it. I've got streamer mode enabled, so I can't remember what the username was. Oh, it was... Did it start with an L? Oh, I'm going to have to disable that. Lord Kibbleston, there we go. Lord. Yeah. So you've got a lot of flexibility to play around with. I think this is a really solid core to play around with. But, you know, play around with it, see if you like the caskets, make some tweaks there. I think there's a lot of play in that list. All right. Perfect. So, where are we up to? We're up to Calamity, Herald of Darkness. Is Calamity with us? Calamity, Jordan G, Steck 638. Any of you chaps here? Because if yes, I can look at your list while you're here to interact with. Also, Beowulf, Ginger Steve, Brillborn. Anyone else who wants to jump in who's here? Jordan's here, perfect. You said first. You're also one of the first on my lists. So, Steck, hey, hell yeah. So I'll do Jordan's and then I'll get onto Steck's as well, which works nicely in terms of the order I was looking at. Jordan, I don't think there's actually going to be much to look at here, because I don't think there's much to tweak. I remember you were saying I could start from scratch if I wanted. You're just looking for like the most optimal list for Empire, right? Start completely fresh. Just make the best Empire list you can. No worries, Connor. Again, if you have thoughts, feel free to post in the Tomb Kings section and at me, and I will weigh in on choices. Yeah, that's super fair. I don't think Mortuary Cult as a list fits the event super well, because I think most of your stuff's going to survive, or you're going to get stomped. But I think it's just a solid list to play. If you wanted to go more fit the event, I'd probably go something more like Exported Champions list, which was the full send Tomb King list. Something along those lines. So Jordan says, basically, you feel like there's a few ways now to take Empire. I agree. I think Grand Army is the best way to do it. Hey, Steve, we'll get to you. I've said I'll do Steck's afterwards, but I'll do yours straight after that. Jordan, I think this is one of the best ways. Just want double checking. I absolutely agree. I think this is great. So, grenade launching blunderbuss, 24 inches. Full send TK, it all dies. Yes, absolutely. But everything dies on the table. That's probably the best way to do it. So, I really like the general on the war wagon. I like the white cloak. I like that you haven't messed around with the weapon. If you're going to go with any, I do like the repeater pistol. It gives you something. It's not like a big choice to put in there. I don't think there's anything else you want to fit in here. I think there really isn't. Like, you could give it magic resist, but that doesn't feel worthwhile. Ring of Fortune for no, that's not it. Ring of Tal, Oaken Shield you've got already. What's the one I'm thinking of? The Twice Blessed Armor. Yeah, so there's no point going for that. Cool. Yeah, no, I like that. The Engineers, I could see dropping the blunderbuss, but it's 10 points each and people will be running towards you, so I don't hate it. Core and the Knights, okay. I really like this core. Yeah, so 12 is maybe a little bit higher than I'd go. But also, what else would you put in? So, though I really like this. Witch Hunter's Ward gives you magic resist 2, but it also gives you a single reroll of an armor save, which is nice. And also you've paired it with the Charm Shield, so you've made it pretty tanky, which I do appreciate. The Warband is fine. I was wondering about the Icon of More, because what this unlocks is it lets you charge something that causes terror. But the problem is, do you want to charge something that causes terror? That's, you know, that's a difficult choice. They're quite spenny. They are spenny. I'd be tempted to try and get a ward save on them, which is difficult to do because you're already putting the Witch Hunter's Ward on them. You could theoretically put a character into there. Speaking of, you've got the Dark Magic Caster. You've only really got you've technically got 2 units you could buff. Like, you could give this unit the Battle Lust. I'd be more tempted to go Demonology on this caster and put it in with the big brick and just go, even in a slog, we're going to be +1 attack, +1 AP, +1 strength. I think that's very valid. That brick and the second night brick both having stubbornness to try and hold the ties back. Yeah, I think that's good. Engineer and the 12 Knights. Yeah. So you could make cuts here on the blunderbuss, but that's fine keeping them. Dark Magic is, I think, I'd be tempted to go Tome of Midnight still, but I go Demonology. And at that point, you do have to put, you know, like a Talisman of Protection on there to try and not die immediately. Dark Magic is good on the Engineer. DM is actually good on the Engineer with the WW. Oh, so that's the War Wagon, and DM, I'm assuming, is the Armor? No. What are we talking about here? I don't get the acronym. Yeah, I'm struggling to find it. Dark Magic is in blood. Oh, sorry, Dark Magic is good on the Engineer. I guess, yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, actually, that's a really good point. Yeah, okay. I see it, because you give all of them +1 attack. All the silly profiles. Yeah. And they all actually have a chance of hitting, including the killing blow. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Sure. I personally prefer Demonology, but I see the utility now of Dark Magic, and I don't disagree with it. I think I'd be tempted to go Pegasus, though, because I don't think you're putting him in with either of these units, right? If you're going for Dark Magic. Voltan's here. Hey! We set Empire 3 times, and we summoned you. Not being able to take Tapestry on the Knights is kind of sad. I agree. I wonder if there's a world you put the BSB in there, but probably not. It feels like a very expensive upgrade, and it doesn't give that much of a buff. Like, it's nice, but it's not the end of the world to not have. This is solid, though. I really like this. Loadout here is good. Warbanner is solid because you just want to grind through it sometimes. Wolfhammers are obviously fantastic. Heavy armor, drilled stubborn makes sense. The second unit, this could have been archers instead, but now that scout is worse, I think the Empire Knights are good. And they do actually kind of hit okay. He's going separate. Wolfhammers, the Knights smash forward, then the Wizard tend to be left in the open. Yeah, so if you're doing that, I definitely go Pegasus. The only downside is you don't get to join them to them, you know, if you're playing against Pillar of Fire spam, but who's playing Pillar of Fire spam now that Sisters are dead? So I think we're going Pegasus on this one. You've got a Lore Familiar Power Scroll Illusion Caster. I don't hate that at all. That's interesting. It's a good control piece, and this is really a gunline list masquerading as a melee list. They can go in the Road Wardens. That's true. But you kind of want the Road Wardens to be up in, you know, the business, because they're bracer pistols. Tome gives Loner 2, so it's all good on Pegasus. That's a very good point. That is a very good point. I've only put it on a character with a Pegasus before, so I think so. It's, yeah, so that really shuts down the Demonology, because you want the Lore Familiar for the Illusion Caster. I'd be tempted to put a Power Scroll on this caster as well, so because sometimes it's going to be really pivotal getting that Battle Lust off. So let's do that. Puts us at 2036, which is difficult because you've got, I don't want to go below 5. In fact, I'd love to go 6 with the Road Wardens. Hellblaster Volley Guns are good. Great Cannons are good. I'd be tempted to go pay for the Vanguard as well, because in some matchups, just getting into range turn 1 would be good. So let's just wishlist everything and then see what we cut. So here, maybe let's just cut those, because it's only a single shot. at strength 4. I know it's D3 plus 1 hits, but we're trying to scrimp and save. But with 46 points over, because this is why you want 2,500 points. Yeah, but I've said this before. I really like the smaller cost. I feel like I'm just going to have to go back to no power scroll and the Warhorse. We're still 8 points over. This one definitely wants to have the mobility to get in range or to get near the enemy. 8 points is such a faffy amount to cut. Maybe we cut the Vanguard on 1. Like, maybe this is sort of... Wait, it's 15 points? Oh, God, no, we're not paying 15 points on that. Like, I like it platonically. I don't like it that much. So maybe we go back to the Pegasus here. But then we've lost the guns. I'm really struggling to make cuts or changes to your list. I think you've got a very efficient list here. So again, I'm not going to cut and paste it because I'm not in love with any of the changes I've made. Like, none of this is sort of like, I look at this and go, yeah, this is what we should do. The tweaks that I'd like to see, I think it's too expensive to give them Vanguard. I think 15 points is too much, so we don't do that. I like the core. I like what you've gone for here. I'd may be tempted to go down to like 10 here and 6 here, so this unit does something, but that's personal preference. People do like units of 4 knights, and as you say, they're more of a roadblock than anything else. I'd love this unit to be 6, but it's hard to fit in, and I think here, getting a power scroll onto the Wizard Lord and putting them on a Pegasus, I think that's really good. I don't really want to drop the grenade launching blunderbuss. I kind of like having those here. Oh, yes, yeah, Ruby Ring of Ruin. I did notice that. So Ruby Ring of Ruin will outperform a blunderbuss. It'll outperform 2 blunderbuss. It'll outperform probably 6 blunderbuss, I would assume. Why don't we drop an engineer? Because you've got 5 piece of artillery. And you've only really got 2 engineers because one of them is technically an engineer, yes. But it's also like a melee unit that might end up road blocking for you more than anything else. It doesn't provide its master ballistics when it's not in combat, yeah. So realistically, you've got 2.5, I would say. So I don't really want to drop one. Yeah, you definitely want Ruby Ring of Ruin. You definitely want that. We'll put it on the Wizard Lord here with the Lore Familiar, because that's the one that you're going to want to keep more safe, I think. At which point you're dropping 46 points. God, that's difficult to do. What if we drop both blunderbuss, as you mentioned, and then we just suck it up, go back to a horse, then we're 8 points over. Ugh. This is hard. You know what else is good? Potion of Toughness on the Engineer. I think because it's a slow-moving unit, I don't love that, because Potion of Toughness falls off at the end of your turn. The way I see the War Wagon being used a lot of the time. In fact, I'd love to make this a BSB. Oh, you're not in Nuln. Never mind. So you can't do that. Yeah. 8 points over. What would I cut here? Is it the Power Scroll? I feel like the Power Scroll and the Illusion Caster is too pivotal. Like, Jack would not be happy with me saying that. When Jack plays Illusion Casters, Jack, who was, you know, #1 Empire player, on the rankings, he's been playing triple Power Scroll, so even just having one probably would give him an aneurysm. I don't really know if there's much we can do to tweak this one. It's kind of there, you know? It's kind of there. It's just getting below that 8 points is hard to do. This list is based off Jack's logic. Yeah, that makes sense. It is very much a Jack list. Like, maybe we drop scouts here. That frees up a few points. And then in core, we just tweak slightly. So, let's say we go like this. And then we've got 5 points, but we're 2 points under, which is a bugger. So we'd have to go 11 and 5, 1999, and it's a legal list. Like, maybe this is the way. And these are sort of like, you've made concessions that make you unhappy, which is what all good compromises come down to, eh? You can drop 6 on the musician. Oh, no, I'm never dropping a musician. I'm a musician believer, especially on something as fast as cavalry. Being able to run away and then reliably rally is... yeah, on this unit, I probably wouldn't drop it either. I think I like this. I think this is solid. I will actually post this because I think I am in favour of these tweaks. But this is the sort of thing where you would iterate repeatedly, right? So you'd play this and go, actually, I feel like this isn't doing what I need it to do because of, you know, I need this from my list. I need something else. So this is one where maybe you go, actually, having Vanguard would be really powerful. I think you should test Vanguard out on the Hellblaster volley guns. Because maybe you'll find that unlocks damage in a way that just you can't get from the list in other ways. Cool. All right. Steck 638. Oh, I remember looking at this list. I really enjoyed this list. Yeah. This is good. No worries, mate. Chris Mollison has gifted a close order membership. That is very generous of you. Thank you very much. And Tiggity Figgity has been the recipient. Tiggity has done well. Tiggity has come up trumps, I think, 3 times on the membership. So, well done to you. Congratulations. Thank you again, Chris. I appreciate that. Okay. So this is fun. This is worth looking at. Because it's very different to the... Oh, you're welcome, Chris. This is very different to all of the lists that you've seen previously. There was one tweak that I think you should make. Was it in this list? Oh, no, it was someone else's list that I... Never mind, you didn't make a mistake. I'm thinking of someone else's. So, Casket of Souls is good, and Necrosphinx as well. Okay, here's the context. Steck says, I like it. I'm just a big fan of Chariots, and I've been struggling to get my block with King to do as much work as I like them. Can you take Vanguard on a Hellblaster outside of Null? Oh, god damn, yeah, it's not in Null, is it? Nope, don't play around with Vanguard, because that's an option that shouldn't have been on my screen there. That's the problem with those sorts of options that don't get input correctly, because then you start looking at them and you're like, oh yeah, no, of course I can do this. It's legal. So let's just have a look. Did you put any build restrictions on their stack? Let's see what we're talking about. I think it was just above. Here we go. That was Michael's. Going for a kind of fun comp, Tomb King's list where a unit champion does work with the king. Level 4 just keeps chariots within res range and also keeps the casket moving to be in range. Thinking you might want to try Royal Host, but then you were not sure what it would look like without level 4 and the restrictions. You've got just about everything printed. Cool. Yeah. Sweet. So, I think this is fun. The first thing I would change, you've got the Crook and Flail of Radiance for 50 points, which gives you... plus D3 attacks, which is cool. You've got 4 base, but it's only strength user AP -1. And it does have strikes first, which is cool. But for me, I think let's go Flail of Skulls. This is strength plus 3, so you get up to strength 8. AP -1, which is equal, but it's multiple wounds too. So this is kind of a budget Ogre Blade. It's not as good, but if you want to combo it with any defensive items, such as Talisman Protection and Armor of Meteoric Iron, I think it's really good there. It also shaves you a few points. So I quite like that as a option. And what you're getting from the other setup is you get a lot of low value attacks, but you've got a lot of low value attacks because you're Chariot. So each model has 4 attacks, 2 from the steeds, 2 from the riders. You've also got the impact hits, which won't do much because there's no AP. So I think having the better weapon there is good. Drop the Flail Skulls for it because Strikes First looks fun. Hey, it is fun. But I think you're also probably tanky enough to be okay because you get plus 3 wounds, right? So you're 7 wounds at T5 with a 5 up that can't be reduced. So I think, for me, I'm just going straight to the Flail Skulls. I think that feels really efficient in my eyes. Damage 2 is just so good for the things that you probably want to be hitting. Then you've got a level 4 on Steed, Hieratic Jar for the once per game res twice, Scarab Brooch for the teleport things in, and then Necromancy. So, was there anything in here? Yeah, I wasn't super wowed by the Scarab Brooch from Beneath the Sands. Do you find that you end up teleporting stuff in all that option? I know you've got the Tomb Scorpions that can. I'm not sold that this is worth putting in. So maybe I'd leave that. And then you've got the level 2 on foot with Necromancy. Both of these are fine. You've got a Royal Herald as well. BSB, which is Amulet of the Serpent, Ruby Ring of Ruin. And that obviously goes in with the Skeleton Archers. So I like that. I think that's very good. Again, you've gone for a... Let me just make sure I'm not talking my backside. They're both necromancy. Scabrooch was a second jar, just wasn't using the second one as much. Oh, as in you've got the hieratic jar on... Ah, I see, I understand. So let's just take it off for now, on the basis of we'll see where we end up once we've put, filled in the points. You haven't got any elementalism for your poison shooting Brock, but similar to Chris, I guess you could just have the low commitment unit that sits there and doesn't necessarily give up any, doesn't give up as many points and doesn't need to teleport around. You've got the unit of 4 skeleton champions. I really like this loadout. You've got the Death Mask of Karnut, which gives you terror for the bearer. And then you've got the Rampaging Banner as well, which is reroll charges, obviously the core item. This is just really reliable to try and scare people around, right? Giving people terror. I need to just double-check the wording on terror, because I always get this confused with fear. I'm pretty sure it's just, yeah, a unit that causes terror declares a charge. It must immediately take a leadership test. So you can put the Tomb King in here, and I don't hate that, but also this unit can just kind of run around and terror bomb things, especially with the necromancy. So having the Tomb King in there might actually be a waste, and maybe you just kind of run him separately, because it's T5 with a 5-up, 5-up, which is not awful. It's very army dependent. If you're playing against dwarves with, like, an absolute hellscape of iron blasters, you probably don't do that, but I think it's fun. The Skeleton Horse Archers with Chariot Runners is just a nice little screen. This is one of the few lists where Chariot Runners is going to do work. I really like it. Obviously, Horse Archers are a really good screen because they're never going to panic and run away because they're undead and they're super cheap. So this is cool. I really like that. And then you've got a Shabti with Great Bows, which is just a good choice. Even if you're not particularly like building into them, they're still solid. Tomb Scorpion. One of them's got ambushes, one of them doesn't. The classic that you see in Tomb King lists when you run out of points. Then you've got the Necrosphinx and the Casket of Souls. So I think this is fun. I like how you've gone for it. I don't think there's anything I'd change here. BSB. I don't think there's anything you need to give them, is there? You could give them... Is it worth... I mean, you've got 2 casters. You probably want to take Curse Blades and also take the reserve move spell. Desert Sands, or whatever it's called. Desert Winds. You probably don't want to go for the teleporting. But you know what I would like to see? Oh, no, you've got Ruby Ringaroon already. This is good. I like this. By the Herald of Chariot. So the Herald is going in with the Skeleton Archers. The reason for that is it's holding the Ruby Ringaroon and the Amulet of the Serpent, so it's giving them poison shooting and being a poison buffing unit as well. What you could do is you could give it to the Mortuary Priest instead. But then the Ruby Ringaroon goes elsewhere. So yeah, like, if you don't mind some changes, how many points we got here? I'd be tempted to go like a unit of 3 Skeleton Chariots with the Death Mask. And then you go like a unit of 2 Skeleton Chariots with to go with the Tomb King. You can still be on the chariot. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Takes up a lot of base space. But it's not the end of the world. So, how many points? 5 is a bit low. I don't love going down to 5. I don't really want to drop 4. I guess dropping 4 is not the end of the world. Yeah, so something like this is maybe a tweak that I'd make. Because this way you've still got the terror-causing unit that runs around. And when you debuff with the Mortuary Priest and the High Priest, you're getting value out of that terror. Like, if you've got a really expensive unit with the Tomb King, chasing things, not catching them, standing out in the open, that feels a little bit rough. Whereas if you've got a unit that's doing the terror causing and a unit that's just sort of bodyguarding the Tomb King, I don't know. Is that good? Is that bad? I'd have to print a whole new movement tray for a chariot with infantry. That's fair. That's fair. Also, it feels like something that's going to go away sooner rather than later. So if it's like a modelling project, maybe it's not worth going for. But I don't know anything. It just feels like something they should probably fix. So I'd like to see 2 units of chariots. And honestly, I'd like to see more points into them. So like something like this. It is an investment, but you say you like chariots. And this way you've got 1 unit that's standalone is good because it makes people run away. And then 1 unit of chariot that is the unit that just sort of carries the Tomb King around. Might put Rampaging Banner with the king, because then he gets the reroll charges. Yeah, I think that's a really solid shout. Let's just change that over. Because, I mean, catching them is nice with the Rampaging Banner, so that's a really nice combo, because you make them run away, you've got a better chance of catching them. But also getting the Tomb King into combat is just absolute primo. Yeah, I think this is good. We just need to shave 86 points. The thing to me that sort of stands out as being less good or less optimal for this list is the Ushabti. How attached to the Ushabti are you? Because you could go like this and just go down to like a token squad of 3 and then you get more chariots in. Or you could drop them and put like another 2 Tomb Scorpions in. I know you can only take... Most places do rule of 3, right? So you can't put... Yeah, this is maybe how I'd put the points. Just shave off a couple of Ushabti. That's after the thought of the list, really. Yeah, they feel like it. Like you just they're good and they're just a generically good unit that is kind of fine on its own, but it doesn't really add to the list design. So I think let's just take them out. What do we put for the last 150 points then? Because we do have 150 points. How about, hold on, hold the phone. What about a Tomb Prince on a chariot as well? Or is the Royal Herald better? Royal Herald is, no, weapon skill bad, whereas the Tomb Prince is good. Yeah, now we're talking, Stack. Now we're talking. Let's go. Because you can My Will Be Done them, so you can give both units the plus movement speed or the plus weapon skill or whatever. So let's go second one on the Skeleton Chariot. Yeah, we're doing it. You want to be tanky, but you are in a unit, so you don't have to be too tanky. Magic items. You've got the option for... Yeah, here we go. Not Armor of Ages, Warding Splint. Yes. So it's heavy armor. So you can also take a shield, which gets you up to a 4-up save, which is better, but it also gives you the 5-up ward save. This is like probably the best use case for the flail, right? Because you're trying to charge. You've got 3 attacks, weapon skill 5. How many points have we got available? We've got, if we take the flail off, we've got 30 points. But you've only got 15 points of magic items. I don't love a biting blade here. Yeah, you're only strength 4. I think flail is good. Is there anything that we want to put on as well? I don't think there is. I think that's fine. I think this is good, right? We've got 2 units of chariots with 2 characters. And one of them you're less bothered about getting into combat because he's not the big slapper. But you've got plenty of surplus wounds here for both of them. And then you just want to buff up the points. I guess you did have 41, so I'm just going to fill the points in with this. 44. Yeah. In fact, let's pay for ambushes on this and just go down to 43. And that gives you a little bit of flexibility. So you probably don't, but it gives you the choice. I like that. I think that's good. That is building to a theme. I just feel like I want to put something on this caster, but I don't think there is anything that you want to put on it. No, this is fine. This is good. All right. Let's export this one. Let's go. Stack. And let me just post that in there. You are very welcome, Stack. I hope that plays well for you. Alright, Ginger Steve. We've got the Nomadic War. I was looking at this and I was like, you know what? I rate some of the choices you've gone for. This is fun. So you've gone for the Orc War Boss, who is Deadard. So you've got a 2-up save. A 3-up save because you've gone for a great weapon. You've got the BSB, which has got a 3-up save, and both of these have a Trollhide Trousers. Really like that. Then you've got the Black Orc Big Boss, who's got a 2-up save against shooting, 3-up save in combat. You've got another big boss in the Warboard. So you've just like really stacked the unit. You've got 4 characters going into the unit of Boar Boys here, which I really like. They're also going to be buffed to the 9s, which is fun. And then you've got triple Goblin Wolf Chariots, which are just cheap drops, redirectors, can catch stuff. I like these more than solo Tomb King Chariots that I was talking about before. Oh no, there's still only 3 wounds. I thought there were 4 for some reason. Yeah, they're solid. You know, they are what they are. D3 plus 1 impact hits. They fill it out. They give you redirectors. I think they're good. And then you've got the boar chariots as well, which I was. How does this work? Do we submit lists in Discord? Covalent. The way that it works is there is a Discord down below. Thank you for reminding me. If you haven't joined, you should join. And every other week, I open up the Fix My List channel. I'll put the message up either on Thursday afternoon or Friday morning, and after the time that I submit, I say, you know, submit your lists. Anything submitted before then, I don't check, just because it's logistically difficult. Yes, and then you submit your list, and there is a priority system, whereas channel members get to go first, but people who have had their list seen in the last 2 streams, so that's basically the last month, they are lower on the priority tier. So even if you're not a channel member, you'd still have a decent chance of getting your list seen too. But yeah, so list down below. And also while I'm doing the shilling, do please like the stream. Always helpful to have those thumbs up, gets me seen by more people. As of now, yes, we got a 1/3 hit rate on the likes, but we can do better than that. Will be seen today. Yes, Covalent. This one wouldn't be seen, but you could submit for the stream on the 7th of February. That would be the next one that's coming up. So Steve says, can't be rezzed unlike those dead people dead to me. After all that, plus I should also gift some. It's never an expectation. It's always appreciated, but it's never an expectation. Yeah, so part of the reason I do like the Wolf Chariots as solo ones more than I like the Tomb King ones is because, as you say, they can't be rezzed, which means that there's no real reason to run them in big units. Just run them as solo, make your opponent really annoyed when they overkill. And they're like, oh, I've done 6 wounds to you. But, yeah, all good stuff there. So I want to talk about these characters, because I think some of these characters are really fun. The Thinking Orcs hat is solid. The only sort of downside to the Thinking Orcs hat is it gives you +1 initiative, which feels a little bit rough when you're using a great weapon. And it's fine, it's not a problem. But you lose. I have no idea how. Ginger Steve asking if you've got gifting on. There is a setting in your YouTube settings, isn't there? Should we learn together? We should probably learn together. Let's have a look here. So if you go to your settings, let's see what we've got. I want to say it's something under privacy. I want to say that I'm wrong. It might be under account. Notifications. How do you turn on gifting? So if you go to an eligible channel's live stream or premiere, within the live chat, select Allow Gifts or select the pinned membership gifting. Confirmed you'd like to opt in by toggling.
Thanks for the help and to support your good work.
Oh, thank you, Connor. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Oh, man. Well, I think hey, thank you, Steve. Muchos apreciado, which is Spanish for much appreciated. I don't know that that's true. I think I might be telling you lies. But we'll see how they pop up. Huh. Normally it says who gets gifted them. I don't know if my Streamlabs has frozen up. Oh, there we go. Sedal, Will Goodson, Tom Carley, Nisgard, John Dale. All good stuff there. Make sure that you mention in the needs role section on Discord, and I will apply your role, and you'll be able to see the VIP sections and all of that good stuff. Perfect. Lovely. Some regular names in there as well, which is cool. It's always nice to see the people that I recognise, you know, regularly chatting. Get the free stuff on there. But yeah, cool. Well, let's talk about your list, because, I mean, that's why everyone's here, right? So, you've got the Thinking Orcs hat, which is good because you have to take the Orc War Boss, because that unlocks the unit of Orc Boy Cav in core, which means you don't have to take loads of Wolf Chariots or Wolf Riders, which is just not a great way to fill your core. But you're also impetuous. I'll go again to get real people after the review, so click that. That's funny. Yeah, so this turns off impetuosity for the brick, because Black Orcs don't turn off impetuous in this this detachment. They've got the wind through their hair, so they can't control the people around them. So this is good. You haven't gone for any talisman of protection, which I think is super fine, because you've got troll hide trousers, which is just nuts good. You've got the weird knob. I would like to see some sort of defense on the weird knob, but it's hard to fit in, right? Because you've gone 200. Yeah, it is really hard to fit in. Okay, fair enough. Then you've got the BSB, who has got the Banner of Butchery. This is one of the best standards. It's always in my Orc lists. If I've got a fast unit, +1 to strength on the turn they charge, it turns the Biggins into strength 6 on the charge, which is really good. They're basically lancers. You've got just a naked Black Orc Big Boss, which I think is great, because you're still getting 4 attacks on the charge, 3 plus Furious Charge, your weapon skill 6, your strength 6, AP 3. You know, you're re-rolling. You've got the War, so the way that this works is you've got loads of sources of War, so you're getting +1 combat res, and also your unit re-rolls natural hits of 1. What this means is you're always going to have re-rolls basically on the list, so you don't even really need Paymaster's Coin. You're just getting consistent re-rolls in the brick. Weapon skill 7 because of red flag, that's super true. Weapon skill 7 is obviously a huge breakpoint, because you're going to be hitting on 2s into a lot of stuff. There's no way to debuff enemy units with Orcs that I can think of. Let's just have a quick check, because that would be really solid. There's the Cholera Zorga, which debuffs Beasts of Burden. Ugh, no. Grizzly Trophy Racket is leadership. No, I don't think there's anything you can do here to make it harder for them to hit you or to hit harder. So yeah, I think this is really good. And just like having it protects the front line as well, because yes, it's only 2 wounds, but it's T5 with 3-up save. So you've got to split your attacks, and you know the chance of you killing it is actually kind of lower than you might expect. And then obviously there's the BSB, not the BSB, the Black Orc on Chariot. I think this. You've got shield. I'd be tempted to find the points to upgrade this to a charm shield, just to get that once per charm shield there. Hey, Beowulf miniatures as well. Thank you so much. This is a great competition for me to be in the middle of. I do appreciate you both. So Connor, who's just been actively chatting, great stuff there. Love that. Michael Sarangi, Joe Scott, and Matthew Malovich all have your memberships. Again, make sure that you post in the Knees Roll channel on Discord, and I will apply those rolls after the stream. Thank you again, Beowulf. It's very generous of you. I do appreciate you. So, Charm Shield on here is really nice, because the thing that's going to mess you up is a cannonball, so getting a once per game 5-up ward is good there. You've got your overcapped on core, so it's not the end of the world to find some cuts potentially. We'll come back to it if we need to, but I think I like that there. No one else really needs the Charm Shield, or I wouldn't hate it on the Big Boss. But you only got 4 points, so it doesn't really work. So really, viewers, click that gift icon now, because I have to come back double hard. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, make sure that you've clicked it and enable that you want to opt in to have a gifted membership, so you get the VIP options. I do need to put up the vote for my list that I'll be playing this month. So if you are gifted, you'll be able to vote on that. Do make sure that you put your all the jobby. Come in and say hi in the Discord. Cool. So I think this is good. Someone said something about the poisoned boa. Poison banner would be no joke on the charge either. AP2 poison. Chris, that is absolutely true. However, because this unit is layered, we're getting strength 6 on the charge here, so the poison is less valuable unless you go into a dragon, at which point you're going to be in a challenge anyway. Bill says you should go live on Twitch as well, get another 40 or 50 views easily. Yeah, it's something I've considered. I've been thinking about recently. I currently use a program called Evamux to do some of my streaming and recording, and I'm thinking about dropping that entirely and paying for Streamlabs, and then you can multi-stream. So that's something that I might set up, but something to think about over the weekend. Got a couple of bits and pieces I need to sort out. Yeah. Yes, that was it as well. I definitely want to see, like, Idler Mork is cool, giving you the reroll and the dispel and the extra dispel range. I think I'd rather see some better defenses. So is there anything that we can give? Ed button that is cute, and I like it, but it's not necessarily super necessary. There's no defensive items here that we can give him. Okay, so I think for me, I didn't know you had to pay to multi-stream. Oh, it's just like a convenience thing. So Streamlabs is free, but it's if you want to use like all of the extra stuff that they do, then they charge you. You know, it's a premium product. I think it's super fair. Being able to multi-stream, I could set it up separately, but it would be just more hassle to do and harder to track. But yeah, so I think if we go to the weird knob, let's drop the Idol of Mork. As much as it's really good, and getting the Dispel, like the reroll Dispel, is very nice, because it's, you know, plus to Dispel range, plus reroll the Dispel. You don't really need the Dispel range on this one, because you're going to full send forwards. Rerolling the Dispel's nice, but if we just go, because you've only got one unit that you care about, right? You've got one super buffed up unit, so there's the glowy green amulet. Instead of Dispelling, you can instead make your opponent roll, or sorry, you roll. On a 2+, the spell is dispelled. On a 1... the amulet is blown up. However, that's fantastic. You've got a 83% chance to stop a spell, and it stops everything apart from a perfect invocation. So I really like this. I think we're going to have to take the charm shield off the... we're going to have to take the charm shield off the big boss now. That's unfortunate, but it's okay. We'll just give them a normal shield. We're still 4 points over. Is there anything we want to tweak? Vanguard would be lovely, but we can't take Vanguard, unfortunately, because it doesn't apply to the units, the characters in the unit. Let's drop the fungus, the Ed button out for now. And that just leaves us with a few points shy. It's difficult, because this list is, like, super squeezed on points. Like, we've got 10 points, we've got 10 points we could put in here. And while the Ed button hat is funny, it doesn't actually get us anything. Put the... GG and the Black Orc, don't risk the wizard. That is... Yeah, no, super fair, actually, because once you get into combat, they're more likely to fall over, so you put it on the Black Orc, right? Yeah, good shout. It feels like it's something that should go on a wizard, because it's a Dispel, but it can just go on anyone, which is very nice. Cool. The problem is we've just got 11 points, and I hate having 11 points spare. What the hell do we put in? Is there anything that's worth putting on? I guess... No. I don't know that there's anything else that I want to put in here. I definitely don't want to give these fuckers banners, because that would just be giving up 3 points for free. One of these could have a banner, but that feels like not a great choice. Oh, here we go. Oh no, because then we're 8 points over. Bollocks. This is difficult. I really don't want to leave it, this tight on points. I guess you're not even going to be accepting challenges with the ball boy, so I don't really want to give him a charmed shield. Is there anything at all? No? There's just not really anything to squeeze in, is there? We can give... The only other option is to, like, drop a chariot and then add some more ball boys. I don't know that that's right, but let's see how that works out points-wise. I mean, that gets us closer. Is this a D6 wounds list mob of 18 boars? Is that something that they've been playing? I'd have to check that out. If you're going full Death Star, we could just go like further into the Death Star. I don't think this is necessary. It just makes the points a bit closer. But I think actually your version is better with the Wolf Chariot. Another Charm Shield on the BSB. We've only got 2 points available, which is a real shame, because like that would be a great upgrade. I'd really like that there, but it's just not. So maybe we just go, you know what, fuck it. Sometimes you're just going to want to tank a dragon on your unit champion. So let's give them an enchanted shield, because that will maybe take them from having max overkill to having slightly less than max overkill. It's crazy that that mob kills literally everything. It does kill most things. It can be challenged out against single characters. But I think, yeah. I don't love the enchanted shield. I'm going to sleep on this, mate. And if I come up with anything better, I will message you. But I think I really like what you've got, just like the full Death Star, which is loaded up with characters. You've got a BSB, not a BSB. You've got a chariot. I really like the chariot to be a BSB, but you've got it in the unit, and that makes loads of sense. So I don't want to tweak that. The Wolf Chariots are good little just utility pieces. These things are going to be annoying. But also, if your opponent wants to get any points, like to get over half your points are going to be tied up. Yeah, like what, 1,200 points are going to be tied up in one unit. Things that's fun building a team setter list. Absolutely, absolutely. Have you thought about what you want this to go into? Because if I'm writing this list, I'm putting this into anything that doesn't have a dragon, and just going like, what are you going to do? I think a lot of lists are going to really struggle to deal with this. Like, you've got enough wounds there to tank through like a decent amount of shooting. You can probably hit a dwarf list and do some reasonable damage with that. The D6 damage king is just going to melt a black orc big boss or something, but then you just rinse the entire other unit. This is that list. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. You know what I want to see, Steve? I want to see other people playing a very similar list, and you just match up and you go, nomadic war into nomadic war, see who wins. I think that would be very fun. Build and paint team of lists and suck the 40k players in. Hell yeah. I mean, you've got Nick converted anyway. So, yeah, I think you're doing well on that one. Perfect. All right, I like it. I think we've only got 3 left now. That's the 2025 goal. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'll, give me a shout if you want a hand with that. I'm always happy to convert, especially if it's anyone that we mutually know. We should get Jay. I feel like you could convince Jay to give Old World a go. When I talked to him about it, I don't think he was super keen on it, but obviously he's very involved with WTC for 40k, so it's hard to pull him away. But I reckon Jay would enjoy Old World. Forever the Skeptic, just catching up and watching the second High Elf build. Quick question, can you have a great weapon and shield at the same time? You can for shooting purposes. In melee, you would use the great weapon. So whenever you get to this point, hope that helps, Forever the Skeptic. Jay is a Skaven player. That's unfortunate, because Skaven are not in a good spot right now. That is, he won't do it until Games Workshop personally apologise. You know what, that's fair. I respect that. And he would stand by that as well. Yeah, alright, cool. Well, let's roll through. I know Beowulf was here recently, so let's go straight on to Beowulf's. Let's have a look here. There was some notes. As another Skaven player, he shouldn't. Yeah, Skaven players unite. All 6 of us. So, Beowulf had limitation on models because of a beautifully converted army that he'd just picked up. And that is super fair. I respect that. So, because we're kind of limited on models, what I'm going to say is there's not a huge amount of changes that I would be looking at making. The first one is Razorgore. I don't like running as a unit, so here's the reason. First of all, the War Beasts. There are more Minotaurs. Oh, great. I was going to ask about that. So War Beasts have Undisciplined. They can't use your General's leadership, and they can't use your BSB to reroll, which means their leadership 6, if one of them dies, they go and panic. So Razorgores are fantastic as standalone units. So, where you play, do you have like rule of 3, or do you have unlimited for core? Because how do you typically run the Razorgore? Would you be able to run 4 individual ones? Rule of 3. Okay, cool. 3 individuals is really good. Like, I like this core where you've got 3 individual and 3 individual chariots. Like, this is just a wall of meat that people are going to have to deal with. Pretty standard rule set. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, core would be 6. Okay. So you could run a 4th one. So we'll put it back in for now, but we might end up removing one of them just for points. But this is such a nightmare for people to deal with, because these are 3 wounds T5. And yes, they die to, like, a spike on Ruby Ring of Ruin, but if your opponent's bringing, like, incidental shooting, maybe they kill 1 or 2. Not all of them. Tusker Chariot as well. Again, worse toughness, better, more wounds, better save with a 4-up save. So you've just got a lot of stuff that's really hard to pick if your opponent's bringing, like, even Lothan Seaguard might not kill a Tusker Chariot, which would be very funny to see. And then you've got, obviously, the Goreherd, which you've got the War Banner, and you're going to do the sort of, like, the full combo, put everything in. And I like that. I think that's fun. So let's start from the top. Beastlord, you've gone for a melee character who hits hard, but is relatively squishy. So I like the Beastlord. You've got 4 attacks at strength 5. Your T5 with 3 wounds as well. You've got some great rules in here. Primal Fury. Obviously, you're getting your rerolls to hit with a 1. I'm going to have to go back. Blood Rage is it gives you Frenzy as well, which is fun. I do like that. Gives you more attacks. And then you've also got Foe Render, so you're getting extra AP on hand weapons. However, you've gone for the Ogre Blade and the Talisman Protection. This is going to struggle into a dragon, but into anything else, it's going to be pretty good. And I'd like to see this more on a Doom Bull, because they're more likely to stand up to survive against a dragon. But as you say, if you've got a limited collection, you know, I don't think this is a bad choice. I just think it's not 100% optimal. So this is super fine. Just be aware that a dragon might make you sad. Maybe this is one where you turn 1, don't accept the challenge with the Beast Lord, you accept it with the unit champion, and then turn 2, once it's lost its initiative bonus for charging, you go in. Because I did notice you'd given him Uncanny Senses, which is +1 initiative, but you're only initiative 5 anyway, so a charging, like, Dragon Lord, some dragons have initiative 4, so that's going to be initiative 7 on the charge, which is a bit of a bugger. If you're playing against like high elves, they're initiative 2 on the dragons, and that way you would strike first. So there's some flexibility there. Can do a Doom Bull. Ah, okay, yeah, let's do a Doom Bull. Doom Bull's good. And Doom Bull. Let's go for the same. What's the initiative on a Doom Bull? Still the same. Okay, let's go. Let's just give it exactly the same loadout, because I think the loadout is super fine. And you've got enough wounds. You're like an extra 2 wounds here. Makes all the difference as to whether you survive. We're making it to the general as well. Fantastic stuff. So you're pretty expensive. And then going heavy armor and shield as well. That's all good. Got the Great Bray Shaman. You've gone for Demonology. This was interesting. So Slug Skin's great. I love Slug Skin. That's fantastic. But the magic items, you didn't give it anything. Is that because you want to pick up Vile Tide? What's the plan for the Great Bray Shaman? What are you thinking of cooking up with that one? I think as well, Slug Skin I'd probably put on the Wargore, just on the basis of you've given it like a defensive loadout, so it's more likely to survive. You want to go Vile Tide, is that? Because if you're going Vile Tide, even though you're going to probably sit in the unit, let's still give you Hag Tree Fetish. It's just a really good boost. You've only got 1 magic missile. That's fine. You're still going to hit super hard with Vile Tide. It makes it so your opponent can't just run away from you because you've still got the opportunity to catch him. You're only for rolling 4 spells, but obviously if you get into Steed of Shadows, you're super happy about it. Really wanted to use Vile Tide. Mate, Vile Tide is very fun. It sucks to be on the other end of, especially when your opponent rerolls, but I play into Vile Tide a lot. I lose dragons to it a lot. It's pretty solid, So that's good. I like this setup here more now that we've given him the Hag Tree Fetish. Just silly, yeah. It's so many dice. Vitriolic Totem is great. I really like this. Poisoned attacks is fun. The only thing that I'd maybe drop this just because poison doesn't stack with magical attacks, unfortunately. So the one thing that really wants to get benefit out of it doesn't, which is a shame. You could go Manbane Standard for -2 leadership. You don't have to. That is getting a little bit sort of into the points. And poison attacks aren't bad because everyone else benefits from them. So we're okay to leave them on there. Banner of Outrage is okay as well because you get more consistent Primal Fury, more consistent on your getting the extra frenzied attacks as well. In fact, we'll leave it for now. But feel free to like swap it between any of these. These are all good choices. The core we've got good, but maybe we drop like one of the chariots or the Razor Gore if we need to free up points. Here we go. So the Centaur herd is spicy. You may have seen me say on stream that Centaurs are not optimal. That's because of this rule, Drunken. You roll at the start of each subphase. 1 in 6 you just get random movement and you don't get to do what you want, and it's a slow random movement. And 1 in 6 you get frenzy, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. And then 2 in 3 you get the effect of them. You love them, cool. As long as you know what you're getting into, that's super fine. like if you're playing, and I'm not going to call it kitchen table Warhammer, but if you're playing more like Club Warhammer, where you like taking a suboptimal unit is a good thing because you've gone like, here's the fun thing, let's get some fun stories out of this. That's great. If you're taking this to a tournament, I think this is the first thing that gets cut. In fact, that would very comfortably free up the points there, but we can leave them in. 10 is maybe a little heftier than I'd go. For cavalry, I really like 6 to 7. How defensive are these? They're T4, obviously, and they've got shields. Oh, God, they only have a 6-up armor save? Oh, that's so squishy. Very much club, not tournaments. No worries. Let's call it 7 for now, because we do need to shave some points. But yeah, cool. I'd probably drop the Gorehoof. The reason I'm saying that is you don't want to charge something and get challenged out. You want to charge something and hit them with everything. And they don't have the static combat res to matter if they get charged by, a dragon. If you then challenge them out, they just win combat massively and chase you down. So I think drop the Gorehoof. I'm kind of ambivalent on the standard. Let's drop the standard for now because, again, it's a unit that's very easy to lose, and it just gives up points. But a musician is always good to have. Great weapons, I like them. I'm assuming that's what they're modelled with as well. So that's all good there. Razorgore Chariot, like, I'm pretty in favour of just going, full wall of meat with chariots and Razorgores. I like that as a plan. Minotaurs, I can't remember if we've talked about this before. Are you aware of the shenanigans that we can do with Motley Crew? And you don't have to do this. However, there is a very efficient way to have a very good save. So, the way this works is Motley Crew, you take the greatest, you take the best armor save, as in the quantity. So if you have 3 with a 5-up save and 2 with a 6-up save, you take the 3 5-up saves. I don't hate it, but if it seems quite gamey. That's true. That is true. So this is very optional. So what I'd say is I'm going to give you the loadout of what you'd go for. If you'd prefer to just go for, what you'd have previously, that's super reasonable. And also you've already got the Gnarled Hide on the Doom Ball, so we're only getting them to a 3-up save anyway, but it's still pretty solid. So we go 1 with Great Weapon, 2 with Shields, and you go the Bloodkine, who's got a shield and the Blackened Plate for a 3-up save. You go 1 with Light Armor and Shield for a 5-up save, then you go 1 for a Great Weapon. And because they've got Faux Render, which gives them the extra AP on the hand weapon, and they've got the Strength 5 already, they still hit pretty hard. So this is sort of like how I would load them out. But if you prefer to just go 4 with Great Weapons, that's super reasonable. And then the Cygore's not the most optimal unit. But again, this is one of those like super funny units, right? Because it throws a Stone Thrower. It's Strength 8, AP 3, D3 plus 1. Honestly, surprisingly solid. It is short range, and you kind of want to be moving around. But I don't hate it. I think it's fun. It's a decent move as well. Everything else on it kind of sucks. It's weapon skill too, but it is a fun unit. So, like, you've said you've got a really nicely converted army, so leaving that in is fine. So I think for me, what I would be doing... Oh, God, 253, and then we've got 52 points here. That's so annoying. I think, in this case, we're dropping one of the Tuskor units. And do you have more than 20 gore? Or is 20 the cap of what you've got? We could just make it up with more Centaur. That's not the end of the world. So something like this is not far off. This feels good. This feels good. Within the constraints of what we've got, right? It's the cap currently. Yeah, no worries. I thought it might be the case. When I saw 20, I was like, okay, that feels like the limit of how many you've got. So, like, let me do 2 options. Because if I post this one for you, be a wolf, and that's the version that I would be running. But if you feel like it's too gamey for Club Night to play the Minotaur that way, which would be super reasonable, I respect that entirely. I'd definitely drop the Bloodkine, and I'd just go 4 Great Weapons. Again, you don't want to be challenged out. And then let's go here, put the Chariot back in. 1, 2, 3. Drop one the Centaur, drop the Standard Bearer, What does that put us on? 277. I think we still drop the Centaur, right? I think that's probably... Not the Centaur, sorry, the Tusker Chariots. And then you just go back up to something like this. Yeah, I think these are the two sort of versions that I'd be looking at if I was wanting to tweak that list around, depending on how you feel about mob rule. Cool. I think that is solid. That should win you some club games. This feels good club level. Like on a scale of 1 to 10 for Beastmen, I think this is like a 7.5 or an 8. Like this is... You're just going to straight up stat check some people, right? You're going to run loads of chariots and raise gore at them. Also, people aren't going to hate playing against it because they're like, oh, I killed some things. Because each one of these units is not actually that hard to kill. They're just sort of a little bit too difficult. Oh, thank you again. Peter Dartinus, Stephen Mercer, Furious Filth, and Sturk Henrik Finn were gifted. Again, make sure that you pop down to Discord and post in the Need Rolls channel. I can see that Lord Kibbleson has already done it. I will apply those after the stream. And thank you again. It's really generous of you. All right, we've just got 2 left to do, I think. So let's go with Brillborn's Dark Elves first, and then we've got Beastman Michael as well to round out with. So let me just double check. Oh man, again, huge fan of this this competition between the two of you. Thank you again, Ginger Steve. That's really generous of you. I'll not read these out. There are 10 here, but again, some names that I recognise in there. Good to have them all on. All right, if I just go up. So if I find the list, because I think there was some text to go with... Where are we looking? Whose list was it that I was looking at here? It was Brillborn's. I think Brillborn's was down towards the bottom. Behind... Yeah, there we go. Brillborn. Going to preface this with, I've never played Warhammer the Old World. I just got into the hobby. Ginger Steve had to put the kid to bed, didn't realise she was still up hiding. No worries at all. Always good to have you as and when you can be. Kids say, hey, it's a Friday night. They going to bed. Oh, it is 10 o'clock actually. I was like, she could be up at like 8 o'clock. Realised that I start streaming at 8 o'clock, so that was definitely wrong. But yeah, so Brillborn says, going to preface this with, I've never played Warhammer the Old World, just got into the hobby. That's amazing. Huge fan of that. So the first thing I will say, there's nothing inherently wrong with picking up a legacy faction, but now that we're a year into the Old World, if you're torn between a legacy faction and a core faction, one of the ones that is like officially supported by a Games Workshop, I'd maybe be more tempted to go for the core faction. I don't think the legacy factions are going away, but because they're not getting supported, in like 2 years down the line, I'm not concerned, but there is a world where we maybe see people less keen to see them at events and all that sort of stuff. So just something to consider. Brill's list is interesting. I like it. So we've got a 500-point dragon, and I'm assuming that's to try and keep in with the 500-point cap. It's cool, but there's no weapon here, which I think is definitely a miss. Although it is Shield of Grond, it is difficult to squeeze in. So maybe we come back to that one in a second. We've got a Supreme Sorceress, who is level 4 Battle Magic, Double Focus Familiar, Lore Familiar, and Ruby Ringaroon. This is fantastic. I really like this loadout. You're going to do loads of damage with it. It's great to just sort of flit around the edges. Double Fireball, Pillar of Fire, Arcane Urgency, something that matters. All good stuff. Bill, so there's on the Discord down below, there is a Fix My List channel. The way that it works is I open it up the day before. So on the Thursday before or the Friday morning, I will say, the Fix My List channel is open, submit for the day, and then I'll try and fit as many people in as possible. Don't post between streams because I don't look at them too much. But yeah, no worries. The next one will be on the 7th of February because I do them fortnightly. Next Friday, I'll be doing some sort of live stream game as well. Yes, where are we up to? Dark Elf Master. So this is an interesting one. There's a BSB with Repeater Crossbow and Razor Standard. And I looked at that, I was like, that's weird. Where's that going? Not in the Dark Riders. Oh, there's a unit of 17 Shades. I think this is a really fun idea. I think this is going to be quite difficult to play logistically, just in terms of they have to be skirmish, and there's 17 of them, so moving them around is a little bit difficult. But if you can get a good position for them, they'll do a lot of damage. They do have the Guiding Eye. The Guiding Eye is a really nice item. It gives you reroll to hit once per game. The unit reroll failed hit rolls in the shooting phase, and you don't declare it until after you've seen the hit roll. So if you've rolled well, you're just like, oh, okay, cool, I'll keep that 60% hit rate. Or if you whiff, you're like, oh, I needed to kill that. So I think that's fun. The BSB goes in there, takes them up to Armor Bane 3, which means any 6s are going to do some real work. It's a lot of points, because if you think about the fact that there's going to be 18 models shooting twice, realistically 36, let's say half of them hit, or on a good day, let's say 2/3 of them hit. You're looking at maybe 4 or 5 6s on a good day, and those 6s are going to be high value, but we're talking about a 450 point unit to get there, which is not the most efficient use of your points. But if that's the way you want to go, I think this is a good way to maximize it. So that's good. Dark Riders, I think these are fine. I'd definitely put a musician into them. I know you want to get as close to 500 as possible, but I'd be more tempted to drop the scouts on these now, because scouts are less good, and go with here. Maybe the scouts go back on, because otherwise we're undercapped on core. Special units, the harpies are fine, the shades are good as well. And then this is the main thing, because you've gone for the Shield of Grond, which is cool. But just not having anything else, I feel like I want to give it at least a lance, right? And a shield. Oh no, you've got the shield already from the Shield of Grond. I'm going to assume that you're not playing with 500 point restrictions. But if you are, then I see the reason to not put the lance in. I'm just not sure this is the build to go. It's a very defensive build. You'd have a 3-up save in combat, but all incoming attacks are -1 strength, so it's very hard for you to die, and you're leaving the dragon to do a lot of the work. The problem is your dragon is only weapon skill 6, which is good, but it means that a lot of the time you're going to be missing on 1s and 2s, so you don't get as much out of the black dragon as you thought you might have done. I think for me, middle ground, I'd probably drop the Shield of Grond if you're playing to a 500 point cap. Go for a great weapon, go for a shield, and just make it so that you're hitting harder, but you're not quite as defensive, but you're still a lord and a dragon, so you don't need to index too heavily into defenses. That's the main difference I'd go with. But yeah, otherwise I quite like it. I mean, I think we've got to make a cut here, so maybe we drop this, and then we've got 6 points to put onto something. Has everyone got musicians? Everyone's got musicians. Is there anything? Oh, we can give you full plate armor as well on the Dark Elf Master. Probably still going to die if you get caught, but we've got 6 points spare, so something like that is solid. So yeah, I think just as an overview, the Lord on Dragon is really good. The Caster is really good. The Master and the Shades are a non-optimal choice, but also you kind of run out of things to put into a Dark Elf list, and if you really like the flavour of them, there's nothing wrong with playing that. Harpies are solid just to fly around. I wouldn't mind buffing them up a little bit, making them 6 or 7, but it's not the end of the world to go with 5. You're using them as a... Oh god, yes, I'd forgotten this is the one with Dragon Ogres. People don't typically have allies. There we go, that was the thing. Thank you for pointing that out, because I'd completely forgotten there were Dragon Ogres in there. So you got to scroll. So people typically don't run allies in Old World, especially if you take it to events. If your group has Dragon Ogres, then sure, they're a very efficient unit, and there's not much reason not to run them. Oh, Minnie, are you the person who posted? Are you Brillborn? Yeah, perfect. So, hey, fantastic. Glad you're here. What I would say is a 1-to-1 change, like that you could put in. Dragon Ogres are better than Cold One Knights. However, Cold One Knights is still pretty good. They're the closest you're going to get to Dragon Ogres in terms of the efficiency of having a good unit. So what I would say, if you want Dragon Ogres or the closest you can get, here we go. We've got 5 Cold One Knights with the Banner of Harganeth, which gives them an additional pip of AP on all of their attacks. which is really good because you can see they've got strength 4 on their basic attacks. The cold ones have strength 4 as well, and there's 3 attacks per model. There's 1 per knight, and there's 2 per cold one. So what that does is it means in a grind fest, you've got 3 attacks each model at AP 1, and then 2 of them have armor bane 1 as well, which is really nice. Oh, we want to go for the full plate armor. You just have bad RNG and you feel stupid, make you feel sad a lot. What's that in reference to? Oh, stupid would make you sad. Oh, okay, I understand. Yeah, that's fair. I like them, especially with the Dreadlord, because you're leadership 10, and if you stay in range, you've got like a good leadership. But that's super reasonable. If you're not going for those, it's difficult to replace, I think. I'm not sure what you put in outside of them. Is there anything in rare that's super worth doing? The big stuff is unfortunately really squishy and easy to kill. Which is a shame because they're super fun, you know. But you're looking at a T5 model with 5 wounds and no real save. You got a 5 up armor save. Is that just the downside of Dark Elves? Yeah, it kind of is. I think cold, even with stupidity, I think Cold One Knights are like one of the, outside of dragons, they're probably the best unit in the book. I'm super impressed by Cold One Knights every time I play them. I like 6, but I'm aware that you said that you're just starting out. You probably don't want to buy a second box of them. So if we just say 5 with the Banner of Harganeth and full plate, and then we shave 10 points from somewhere. Oh god, where are we going to shave 10 points from? It's a difficult choice. Do we just go down to 15 on the shades, and then we can just give the Cold One Knights a champion as well? Probably just auto-include the other banner. Oh, what, the Cold-Blooded banner, do you mean? It does have to be used before you roll, if that's the one you're talking about, but it is a solid way to get a little bit more. Like, on the important turn, it's good to have. Yeah. Remember, you do have to use it before you roll, but, like, if you look at it and go, okay, I'm going to get into combat this turn, I've just got to pass my leadership test, this is the time to use it. And it does make the points a little bit easier as well, I think. But yeah, cool. Well, I'll post this one in. And jobs are good. And there we go. Brill. Yeah, that was it. Brillborn. There you go. And we've got one more. Thank you for all the info. Still have a ton to learn. Long time leaker, first time poster. Very good. Yeah, no worries. Good to have you. Old One's a great game. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you're having a good time with it and you'll enjoy the games. Okay, last one up, Beastman Michael. Michael, we've kind of talked about Beastman a lot. A lot of the choices are going to be very similar in here, and I know that you know what you're talking about because we've played. So I'm just going to sort of like whiz through. This was for a Throne of Skulls list, so Michael was deliberately not going with the most optimal list. Let's just read what he said a little bit further up here in the section. Where are we at? It was... God, I've posted so many lists. Here we go. Nope, that was Beowulf. It was just above there. Here we go. Bit of a write-up, because I don't think I can make the stream. For Throne of Skulls, trying to put together an army that has a theme, isn't too cheesy while not rolling over to the odd, tough opponent. The theme of the list is terror/leadership. Everything causes fear, may cause terror, and the gauzy buff enemy leadership. Also, snuck in my usual characters with less efficient loadouts. The Tzeentch Spawn is their theme because I use the Wildfire Taurus model. Feel free to chop and change to make what you think would be a fun Beastman list. I have most models. My main concern is balancing soft scores with gameplay. That's super reasonable. Ah, it is you, Beastman Michael. Brill Briars. Justice for you. That really threw me off because your name is Bill on there, but I know that I know you. And I know you're not called Michael. All right, cool. Good stuff. Justice for Michael. Yeah, so, I mean, the problem with a themed list, or like a soft tournament list, is it's difficult to say what you should change without making it too good, right? So, like, the obvious one is the gigantic spawn of Tzeentch not being Tzeentch, but you said you specifically want to use the model, and that's super reasonable. Gorgon is not awful in there. Jabberslythe, as you say, it's a flying terror causer, and also it's got the maddening aura, which is nice, right? It's the leadership test, and they take some hits. it might come up, and if there's any event it's going to come up, it's going to come up here. So that's cool. I know we've talked about the Razor Gore in multiple units. I'm a big fan, I'm a big fan of having them as separately, just because, I don't want them to die to panic. So I'd probably go more like that. And the other thing as well, I'm assuming, given that you've got 2 Minotaur here, they're going to be joined by the Doombull. Is that right? I'm assuming that's the way you're doing it. Obviously, for Throne of Skulls, I'm not recommending that you go for the 2-up save on this character and just make them real bullshit. But yeah, I think this is good. Like, is Power Scrolls too gamey for Throne of Skulls? I don't know that it is. It's probably fine. I like what you've gone for. The Mangelder obviously causing more issues to leadership. The Razor Gore Chariot, Brave Shaman, we're both big fans of that. I think this is good. Just on their own to be ambushed or knowing. Okay, in that case, yeah, sure. 2, I probably wouldn't go 3. I kind of wanted to go for a 3rd one, but that's fair. The Doomgull and the Gorbrook. Yeah. That is the better place to go. I was just wondering because there was only 2. I'd be tempted to buff this up to 3. But yeah, I don't think there's many changes I could make. Because if I'm looking at it from a competitive standpoint and knowing what you own, I'm saying, do not run that Jabberslythe. Run to Nurgle Spawn. The Gorgon, I would say, comes out, but I think you've had good results with them, and then you'd maybe tweak up here. But I think this is fine. I think other than tweaking the Razor Gore to be 3 units of 1 instead of 1 unit of 2 and 1 unit of 1, which is a personal preference, I don't think I'd change much, because I probably wouldn't want to abuse Mob Rule if you're worried about soft scores for Throne of Skulls. I don't think you have to be worried about soft scores, though. For people who don't know, Michael is lovely. He's very, very friendly. If you play him at an event, you'll have a good time. So you could make this list have more teeth, and you'd still do well on soft scores. But oh god, no, I would not think it's too gamey. If I see a Jabberslythe on the other side of the table, I'm like, cool. So I win this game then, which is maybe unfair. But I'm not running, tuned down Throne of Skulls lists. So yeah, I think if I saw that across the table, I'd think that someone was really keen on Beastmen, and that's cool and fun. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it. I don't think there's any point me posting that into the channel. Like, I haven't really made any tweaks. I think all of the choices you've made are good. The only thing that I would say that you maybe want to change is like whether you drop some of the inefficient monsters to run slightly more efficient monsters, but using a specific model. The Jabberslythe is fast and terror-causing, and the Gorgon is like, it's the benchmark for Beastman Codex monsters, right? Justice for Jabberslythe. All right, buddy, you win it, and you tell me about how the Jabberslythe won it for you, and then I'll be willing to put them on the table. But until then, I don't want to hear about it. Perfect stuff. Let me just have a quick look in here. Spot on. Catch you later. Yeah, buddy. Are you down on any Thursday night club nights? I could probably come down next week or the week after if you want to get a game in at some point. I need to work out what I'm doing in person, because it probably isn't Wood Elves. I'm actually not enjoying playing them. But yeah, that about does us. I hope you've all had a good evening. I have. It's always nice to do these Friday streams. They're good engagement. It's nice to chat to people as we're building lists. If you're not in the Discord, do join down below. I've said it 6 times now, so I assume you're all there. And if you have been gifted very generously a membership, thank you again to Beowulf Miniatures and Ginger Steve, and also I want to say as well, Chris Molson, who did gift one as well, which very, very kind of him. Do put it in the Need Roll channel, and I will apply a roll, and you can vote on the pick my list that I'll be putting up over the weekend. All right.